Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and start chatting early in that case. Aaron, thank you so much for resubscribing. Kiddu, thank you as well. Hopefully audios are all okay. It has been like 3 months. Hello, hope you guys are doing well. Welcome in. I see some first-time chatters as well. Hello, hello. Hope y'all are doing good. Strange Kid, thank you for the 11 months, almost a year. And it has been a year for a lot of you, even just like follower anniversaries. I did miss the Lover Host anniversary, but that's okay. I was in the UK. It was actually during TwitchCon, I think. I am Banana Live, thank you for resubscribing. Hopefully everything is running smoothly. It has been a hot second. Are you okay after concussion? Yes, I am doing much better. I was gone for 3 months, but it's okay. Tiger Plays, thank you for the 13 months, and I'm very glad to be back. Again, if audio was scuffed or anything starts lagging, please let me know. You know how these streams go. Flame Boy, thank you for the 7 months. I'm gonna switch over to face cam, but I just wanted to say I did dye my hair. And I'll use this as an opportunity to have you guess what color I dyed my hair. Beepers, oh, I think I'm completely out of order with the subscription messages. Thank you very much, Roundabouts. Thank you. Okay, we got like blue, purple, red, dirty blonde? That's not a color. I dyed my hair an actual color. I'm seeing a lot of purples, greens. I will say, I remember the last stream before I left, I did ask what color I should dye my hair if I did, and I was between purple or green. Okay, there might be a little bit lag in chat, I don't know. I see that my bitrate is a little bit scuffed, but we're gonna work with it. Thank you, Cheetah, thank you. Again, if I miss your message, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna switch over to the screen now, so... Hello? Oh, you can see a little bit of it. I did dye my hair purple. But it kind of looks pink. Hold on. It kind of looks pink, and it's a little bit scuffed because it's supposed to be temporary, but it never fully washed out. So if you said pink or purple, I would say you're right. It looks good. I'm glad. Thank you guys for the hype train, by the way. 25 months. Slick, I hope you're doing good. That's so long. That's more than 2 years. Beepers Jeepers, thank you. But yeah, I dyed it purpley pink. It looks more pink on camera. My friend Elliot, Lavender Mole, had temporary hair dye that we put in my hair right before TwitchCon, a bit impromptu. And I actually really like it, and I took it home with me, so I put a little bit more in my hair last night. I left these part white, but I don't know if it looks weird, so I'm debating whether or not I leave this white, or I also make this purple. Or magenta, yeah, it might be more of a magenta color, I guess. Does it look good? I'm glad you guys like it. I love affirmation. Thank you very much. Looks nice. Thank you. Portal? I might need to turn up the TTS messages a bit. Portal, thank you for the bits. It was really nice meeting you at TwitchCon. I remember you. Thank you very much. And Dino Games, thank you for the 10 months. Yeah, so I've been gone for a while. I was a little bit sick, I think, before I went on my vacation. Thank you, Kira Kills, for the 13 months. So I didn't really get to do a goodbye stream, and then I went to Europe for a month and just had fun in like the UK, and then I went to Paris for TwitchCon. Then I came back, but I came back with a concussion. So it's been a while. Also, Drowsy says, did you get any gifts? I did. I got a lot of stickers, and I don't have them with me at the moment. They're actually still in a luggage that I shoved beneath my bed because I never fully unpacked. But yeah, I did get some gifts, which I always love so much. I got some bracelets too. Actually, the bracelets that I'm wearing right now I got from San Diego. I'm missing TTS messages because I'm terrible. Hold on. Sea-Dog is running? Thank you for the 1,000 bits, Sea-Dog. I hope you're doing good. I miss you guys. Thank you. I'm gonna turn up the volume, or maybe I'll turn down the music volume is what I'll do. That might fix that problem for me. No, I hear myself twice now. Thank you, Midnight Rose. Thank you, Ender. Thank you, Likely Lily. I'm gonna read some names. Portal Malto. Malto says, welcome back and don't worry about how embarrassing the concussion story is. Can't be worse than my friend who concussed themselves at our middle school choir concert. How do you accomplish that? Mine is more embarrassing. Mine is more embarrassing than that. It's not even a good story. It's not even a good story. Are you gonna get back into streaming soon? Yes, now that I am back, I'm feeling a lot better. I didn't have any migraines yesterday, which I took as a good sign. And also PirateSMP launches tomorrow. Cricketed! Thank you for the 28 months! Thank you! Again, I think longest sub over here. Thank you so much.
I can ask cursed questions.
Oh no.
Would you rather eat fuzzy ice or crunchy gum if you had to?
If I had to, I would eat fuzzy ice. Except that makes me think of mold. Yes, story time. This is just gonna be like a just chatting stream because I have a lot of stories that I've collected and put in my pocket. Thank you guys for the hype train. By the way, are you guys excited for PirateSMP? I was testing out mods yesterday. It's really cool. The mirror? Wait. High school and a chair fell on them from above the mirrors. My concussion story is way more embarrassing and way less interesting. So, okay, I was gone for like a month before TwitchCon. I ended up traveling around the UK. I was in Wales. I'm gonna mess up the order already. Wales, Cardiff, Bath, Oxford, London, then Paris. Then I went home after that. But in Oxford, I ended up hitting my head really hard and I got a concussion. So for about half of that trip, I was very out of it and very sick. Alexis Catboy, thank you so much. So yeah, the traveling was really fun. So I was in London, which was amazing, except I was concussed for all of it. I think I left the Airbnb twice. Probably only 2 times for some simple walking.
What do you like about Corey?
Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Thank you very much. Thank you. I don't even have a sub goal set up or anything yet. Thank you, I appreciate that. Will I ever change the corn song? Has it gotten old at this point? I don't even see that on TikTok anymore. I think I'll change it eventually. Avriel! Hope you're doing well. Thank you. That's okay. I hope everyone is doing okay. You guys like it? Keep it? Alright, I'll keep it. It's a cute little song. I enjoy it. I'll enjoy it. Thank you for resubscribing. Sorry if I mismessaged or the alerts again. So, how I hit my head. It's not even interesting. I didn't even know I wasn't concussed until the next day. So we're staying at an Airbnb, me and Lavender Mole, Elliot. I did. I'm a really bad storyteller. I get a little bit too distracted, but I did have a great time at TwitchCon. I was concussed, and I did sit in the bathroom just in the dark for a while, but that's okay. Thank you, Kayla. Thank you. I hope you're doing well as well. We were staying on the top floor of an Airbnb, and the ceiling was really low, and the ceiling was also like an A-frame ceiling with those edges. I don't know how to describe it because I've never been in a room like that in America, but this was in Oxford. I think it was an old building. And again, A-frame ceiling with like edges and corners, and the bed was tucked beneath this diagonally slanted ceiling. And I was just in bed on an iPad chilling, about to roll out of bed to take a shower, and I flung my body off the bed. You know when you get momentum and you roll off a bed? Yeah, I did that. Except I forgot there was a ceiling right above me, and I hit my head. I hit my head getting out of bed. That's all I can say. Wait, I know I'm missing messages. Wait. Who? Tiger? No, Starboy. Star, I hope you're doing well, Star. Hope you're doing good. We should game soon. I miss ya. A fire extinguisher? Mine was just the ceiling. I hit my head on a ceiling too hard. And so I hit my right. I don't know my left and my right. I hit the right side of my head on the edge. And the thing is, I didn't even hit it that hard because it didn't even bruise, it didn't swell or anything. It just hurt really bad for a couple seconds, you know, when you hit your head. But the problem was, when I hit my head with that momentum going that direction, my brain bounced off the side, this side of my skull. And I know, because when I hit my head, I felt it here. I felt my brain hit something on this side. And I was like, oh, you know, I just hit my head. You know, when I was little, I hit my head all the time. Don't know if you can tell, but so I was like, it's fine. It's fine. I went to bed. It was nighttime when I hit my head. So I took a shower. I hit my head again in the shower. Don't worry about it. It was a new shower. New Airbnb. I didn't know what I was doing. I went to bed. And I woke up the next morning. I didn't know I was concussed. I just thought I hit my head. I didn't think anything of it. But I know if you ask Elliot, it was apparently really hard to get me out of bed the next morning. And usually I'm very good at getting out of bed. Usually I'm up, I'm at it, I'm ready to go explore. I'm like, yes, let's go explore Oxford. We got to go to those really cool museums in Oxford. Let's go. I didn't want to get out of bed.
Welcome back, son.
Thank you so much, Gabrielle. Thank you, thank you. Also, thank you for the bits, Rainy Sky. Sorry if I missed those. I appreciate it. My noggin now is, I think, pretty functional. But that's a very recent thing because this is the first time I've actually sat at a computer without standing up every 5 minutes to rest my eyes. But if doing good. I mean, I don't know how I got concussed either. I genuinely think it's because of the momentum. When I went that direction, my brain, I think it's called a counter-coup concussion, is like the medical term, and I know that because I utilized UK free healthcare. I called, it's not, okay, no, 111 is like 911, right? I called the other number, which is you call it when it's not an emergency, but you need someone to talk to. No, it's, help me, is someone here UK? Can they, British, can you tell me? What's the number that you call when you just need advice? You had a bunk bed? Is it 111? That's the non-emergency one? Okay. CPS, no. Again, I hit my head a lot as a kid too, but I mean, I've never been concussed, and I even did sports for a bit, but I've never been concussed before. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I didn't call 111 until like 3 or 4 days after I had hit my head. I didn't know I was concussed, and me and Elliot, we went out to a museum, like the Oxford, what was it, Natural History Museum, I think, the one with like the dinosaurs and the skeletons. I had the worst migraine of my life, and I'm not usually prone to headaches, so it did stand out a little bit, but apparently I looked miserable enough that Elliot left the museum to go to a store like a Tesco or something and get Tylenol to bring back to me while I had been left at the museum cafe wearing sunglasses and looking hungover. I was having an absolute time, yeah, because usually if you have a concussion, you're supposed to stay inside. You're not supposed to have any, like, stimulus. You're supposed to stay inside in a dark room for like 2 weeks. Nah, I was out and about. I was at museums and walking around in a new country, and I didn't know I was concussed. And another thing you're not supposed to do if you ever have a concussion or think you have one is you're not supposed to take ibuprofen. Am I saying that? Ibuprofen. I'm fine. It's okay. Because that, it's like a blood thinner or something, and your brain will bleed if you have a concussion and you take that. I took it. Speedrunning live to end up in a museum? Oh, absolutely. Dying in a museum, that's how I want to go. So you're not supposed to take ibuprofen. You're not supposed to take that if you have a concussion, because if your brain is bleeding, it will bleed more. So at breakfast, the morning I woke up, I was like, oh, I have a little bit of a headache. Let me pop some Advil with my morning coffee. That probably made it a lot worse. Help me, how am I supposed to say it? Ibuprofen. I just say Advil for a reason, but I do realize that is a brand name, and in the UK, I didn't take Advil, I took Nurofen, which is not a different brand name. Ibuprofen. I just say Advil, it's so much easier. But yeah, I was doing terrible. Hi, Megs.
I was a great doctor from across the pond. Elliot
Yes, you were.
was like help PLS. Glad you are feeling better. I missed your brain.
I missed having a brain. I did not have one. This is the first time I've like felt like myself in over a month. Oh, are you okay now? All recovered? I'm gonna give a tentative yes, because even yesterday I had a little bit of a migraine when I opened up Minecraft. But right now, I'm good. Might be because it's still morning for me. Squire! Thank you for the 27 months, Squire. Olive, how do we send fan art? If you, like, on Twitter, is it called Twitter? Is it called X now? I was not on my phone or my computer for like a month because I couldn't look at screens. And then I come back and I look at my phone and it's like, wow, a lot of rich people died in a submarine. Oh yeah, Twitter is now an X instead of a bird. Oh, there's something called Thread. Oh, the American government found UFOs. Oh, FNAF has a new DLC. So, I don't know what's going on. Good Omens has a season 2? I missed a lot. It's called X now? Why? It's a terrible idea. It's awful. Oh. Yeah, that's again, I'm still trying to get through my story in chronological order. It's gonna take a hot second. But that first day, I was at the museum. Elliot had left. Dude, I'm sorry, I'm looking at chat while I'm talking and I just see Meg saying, can we watch Good Omens together, please? Yes, we can. Oh, who did I? Ooh, I met you at TwitchCon. It was great. Again, my favorite part about TwitchCon is just meeting people. That's genuinely why I go. That and the PirateSMP panel, which was really, really cool. Oh god, terrible at staying on task, both are true. Yeah, PirateSMP panel, getting off track again, was really fun. I feel terrible because I didn't talk a lot, because I did have a concussion, and the lights that they shine on you when you're sitting on a stage, which is true for all stages, if you're in choir or theater, you know what I mean, like, are in your eyes. I should have been wearing my sunglasses inside during that, but I had a little bit of a headache while I was up there. I don't know if you could tell. How are your fish? My fish are great. I'm getting off track. That is another point I want to bring up some time while we're chatting, and I'm supposed to be drinking my coffee while we talk.
408,206.8 seconds.
There's no way. Did you actually calculate that? I don't know numbers. That could be wildly off, or that could be extremely accurate, and I would have no idea. Thank you, LunaFix. Thank you.
I was the one in the wheelchair. We accidentally left your friends waiting. Hi, Clyde.
Yes! Wait. I have to say wait, because I did meet multiple people who were in wheelchairs. Are you the one who got lost? Like, you lost your friends and
Olivia,
outside of the expo hall? I felt so bad. There was someone who genuinely, like, was lost and by themselves, and I was like, oh, shoot. And then I got separated. Like, people were getting separated all over the place. Communication between streamers, you would think would be good. It was awful. It was terrible. I never know what's happening. That was you? It was great meeting you. I hope you found your friends eventually, honestly. I am back. Lime beans, thank you for the 12 months. I'm off track. Where was I in this story about brain damage and concussions? Ah, yes, the museum. The first day. Bye, Megs. Bye. I didn't see that AO3 got hacked because I couldn't be on my phone. And whenever I popped on to even try to look at something, God punished me with terrible migraines. So no, I couldn't participate in jokes about submarine sinking or AO3 getting hacked. I have no idea what happened. I just know that it did happen. Yeah, I was at museum. I had a terrible headache and I wasn't quite sure why. I just knew it was a little bit out of character for me since I usually don't get headaches. It's just not usually a problem for me. Elliot, probably I looked miserable enough that Elliot left the museum, went to go get me Tylenol. Came back while I was just at a cafe inside the museum with like my head down for a good 40 minutes. Sorry, I just read a message. Someone made a fanfic about the submarine. This is why I shouldn't look at chat while I talk. And then I think the moment where I thought, hey, I probably have a concussion is we left the museum because there was no AC inside of the museum, and I think I wanted to cool down a bit. And I was laying in the grass with my jacket over my head, sunglasses on, taking Tylenol, and eating some snacks that Elliot bought from Tesco. And my head was hurting so bad. And then here's another thing. I got like randomly emotional. I suddenly felt like sobbing and crying. And I don't cry. I don't cry that often at all. And I just got randomly emotional. So then I thought, I think there's something wrong with my brain. I think I might have hurt my brain. So we started looking at concussion symptoms, and I do believe one of the symptoms of a concussion is like, emotional is the wrong word to say, but just random emotions. So there was that. And yeah, it was terrible after that. It just got worse. Yeah, like mood swings and stuff, like something like that. Emotionally erratic. Well, I wouldn't say I was erratic, but my emotions were. Yeah, it was really weird. It was really weird, but yeah, I wasn't able to really explore as much of Oxford as I wanted to because I'm a huge museum fan. I really wanted to go and check everything out, and I wanted to go to like the gardens in the forest. Yeah, emotional regulation. It wasn't even that emotional regulation was gone. I had no reason to be sad. I just suddenly felt sad. Like I wanted to cry. I didn't cry because I thought that would be embarrassing. And then it went away and I was fine. And then it happened like once or twice again on random days. Really weird. And then so after Oxford, we traveled to London. And I didn't really get to do anything in London at all. And I was there for about a week. I was just really staying inside. It was terrible. Emotional imbalance, maybe. C-Frame Z Gaming. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. But yeah, I was really sad because I really wanted to go and explore everything, but I wasn't able to. And you know, Oxford is in London? Is it?
I knew I saved my
Thought they were different.
welcome back, Olive.
It was like an hour away from London. It's fine. It's fine. Took the train. I'm so bad at telling stories. I know if I think Elliot's on a walk, but if they come back, I can get them on VC and they can tell you how wild it was. I was really bad at talking too. I was getting all my words mixed up even more so than usual. Biased person, thank you very much. Thank you. And Megan, hope you're doing well, thank you. It was like, one of my favorite birds is the golden saker falcon, and we were in the Natural History Museum on that first day, and I was trying to find a taxidermy one, and I kept on saying golden saker Fulton with a T, and I couldn't get the word falcon out, no matter how hard I tried. And then I would look at something and just call it the wrong thing. Not because I didn't know what it was called, but it just wouldn't come out right. Like, I think I was looking at cantaloupe, like the orange cantaloupe, and I said, mango. And I know it wasn't mango, it just, I couldn't talk. Or there was like, I pointed at something else and I said, look, a shrimp. It wasn't a shrimp, it was like a piece of grass or something. And like I was trying to say whatever it was, but it came out as shrimp. And I know it wasn't, but yeah, it was a bit scary. I mean, it's now funny looking back at it because I know I have a collection of stories that I'm just really bad at telling because I'm not a good storyteller. But a mango. It was not in fact a mango, it was cantaloupe. And the cantaloupe was bad. I was eating rotten cantaloupe, and it took me a good minute of chewing to be like, it's not weird cantaloupe, it's rotten. My brain wasn't working, it really wasn't. But then after a while, once I got to Paris, I was in Paris for about a week before TwitchCon started, just because I wanted to explore. It was my first time in France, and I just wanted to explore and have fun. Did you call 111? So here's the thing. At this point, I knew I was concussed. But I looked online and it was like, hey, if your pupils are evenly dilated and you can like raise your arms evenly and you don't have stroke symptoms, you're probably not gonna die. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna die, I'm fine. So I didn't go to the doctor. But at one point I was feeling so terrible. I did call 111 and we had it like a teleconference with an actual doctor that evaluated me and said, yeah, you're not gonna die, you just gotta rest for 2 weeks. And I said, okay. And then I traveled to France and didn't rest. But yeah, it did suck, but it was a good trip. I didn't rest at all. Like, again, when you have a concussion, you're supposed to stay in bed and like not do anything, and you're just supposed to let your brain heal. And I kept trying to go out, and then I kept dying. Like, like surprise, surprise, I felt terrible going outside. France though, I was feeling good enough in France at that point that I could go out. I did, don't worry, we're in the France portion of this story, which means TwitchCon coming up soon, baby. Yeah, I tried to take a lot of pictures, but I forgot to post them because I couldn't use my phone. In France I felt good enough that I could go out and like do small things. But then another symptom developed, which was really weird. Another thing I learned while, spending a month with someone else. I spent the whole month with Elliot, Lavender Mole, in chat. One thing I learned spending a whole month with them, like a whole month living with another person, is I've come to realize I don't think I take good care of myself. I don't think I realize when I'm in pain until after I'm all better, and I look back at it and I think I should have gone to the doctor. I like back in college, I had pneumonia and I never went to the doctor, and I had pneumonia for like a good month and I just like couldn't breathe and I probably almost died, but I just never went to the doctor because I was busy with exams and stuff. But looking back at that now, I was like, holy shoot, so you should have been in the hospital or something. Oh, and then earlier this year, if anyone in chat remembers, I was gone for a portion of time because I had a kidney infection. And the thing is, like, I knew I kind of had one for like at least a day or two beforehand, but I was like, it might get better on its own. No. Okay, so anyways, I didn't go to the doctors when I had a concussion, but I did call 111 eventually, like 3 days later.
Also, do you think you'd be open to game suggestions sometime?
Absolutely.
Get well soon.
Always give me game suggestions, especially I need some like I think chill games to play that doesn't require too much brain energy. Yeah, no, I had a kidney infection and it took me I just don't want to inconvenience anyone. I was like, I don't want to drive to the clinic. I probably need to ask my parents, but they're asleep right now, so I'll just wait till the morning.
Sleepy, you're back. Exists call so Twitch baby would.
I am back! Thank you, Ashtolotl, for subscribing. If I missed any messages, so sorry. Please make sure to get a brain scan on your next checkup. Do I need to? I thought it was all good. I got a teleconference and they said, rest for 2 weeks, you'll be fine. And I said, okay, and I didn't. But the weird symptom that I ended up developing was, so I was taking like ibuprofen, because at a certain point you can take Advil, once like the bleeding has stopped, which I figured at some point it did. So I was taking Tylenol, like, what's it called? Paracetamol and ibuprofen, like around the clock constantly, and I was pretty okay, but every now and then I'd get like a stabbing migraine. But there was another symptom that I didn't really know what to do about. I would just be walking, and then all of a sudden I'd be like, I cannot walk anymore. I can't do it. I can't move. And it's not like I'm tired, I'm sleepy. It's I can't move my muscles. My muscles, they don't want to. And I'd look at Elliot, I'd be like, I cannot do it. We need to sit down. And then we'd like have to find a bench, and I'd like hobble to the bench and just either sit down or lay down until I could move again. Yeah, brain no work no more. And it's really, I'm trying to find a more accurate way to describe it, but it's hard because I genuinely have never felt like that before. Because there is like muscle fatigue if you've been running or you're exercising and your muscles are tired, or there's just like you are sleepy and exhausted and you just want to lay in a bed. My muscles didn't want to move, and it was like painful to try to keep moving. And maybe like a paralysis, although I could move, it just really hurt and it wasn't happening very well. But it would be extremely random. I know we were at a really cool zoo in Paris, by the way. We went back to that zoo 2 times because it was a fantastic zoo. It had orangutans and everything. Like jumping on a trampoline when your legs say no. I don't know. I've never really been on a trampoline before. Olive, I developed narcolepsy in my early 20s. That's when neurological disorders start. Please see a doctor. Don't worry, it's just a concussion. It's just a concussion. And I haven't had that symptom since coming back to my home, Florida. But I've also been in my room this entire time, and I haven't really gone out, so I don't know. It was really weird, though. You know, it'd be extremely random. I'd be walking in the zoo, feeling completely okay. And then I would get like a stabby headache I was used to at that point. And then a couple, like maybe a minute later, it'll be like, oh, I cannot move. So, I mean, if anyone ever gets a concussion, hey, I can give you advice now. And that advice is go see a doctor and maybe don't go to the zoo. We need a doctor in chat. Any doctors on this plane? Again, I'm terrible at telling stories. Let me see. I think Elliot's on a walk. I told Elliot when they're back we can chat on stream because they're the one who was playing doctor and taking care of me the entire time. What are you having? I'm drinking coffee at the moment. Luckily enough, by the time it was time for TwitchCon, I felt good enough to actually be in TwitchCon, which was fantastic. It would be awful if I had to miss that. So yeah, I was able to meet a ton of people at TwitchCon, which I love, and I was trying really hard to be high energy and not look miserable, because I was having a fun time. Aw, thank you, Skipper. Thank you for the 7 months. Thank you, thank you. And then also, I see Likely Lily had recommended House Flipper. House Flipper stresses me out. I've tried to play that before as a chill game, and I don't understand it. Hi, Ko. Yeah, it was really fun. RatsSMP panel was fantastic, and also I'm really excited for PirateSMP. If anyone, alerts are a little quiet. I have them quiet on purpose. I'm trying to prevent a headache from occurring. I don't have one right now, which is good, but I have all of my sounds turned down super low. I have them up as texts on the side of my computer, so that way I'm trying to read your alerts more so than listen to them, if that's okay. Maybe I can just make them louder for you on your end, though, if that's what you want. Oh, and then MCCR applications I filmed with, Apo Ako and Gracie, but I was still having headaches at that time, and it was my first time really at the computer playing Minecraft. So if you saw our application for it, I'm wearing sunglasses. It's not because I'm trying to be a cool kid, it's because I was trying to prevent a migraine. I actually have them with me on my desk right now just in case, but I don't think I need them. I'm doing all right.
Hey Olive, I can't
Alukasa,
I'm at work but have a good streak.
good luck at work. Thank you very much for the year. You're wondering why I was wearing shades. I wasn't trying to be cool. I just kind of needed them for a little bit there. But yeah, if you haven't seen the trailer for PirateSMP, you should watch it because it's really cool. It launches tomorrow.
Person to have their arm sliced off and say may. Just a scratch, I'll be fine.
Just a flesh wound, you know, it's okay. As long as you're not dying from blood loss, you're fine. I mean, what can they do? Reattach it? No. Tomorrow's Pirates premiere and your birthday? Hey yo, well happy early birthday in that case. Happy early birthday. But yeah, PirateSMP trailer was really cool. I don't know if you know this, but at the panel, that was the first time any of us besides Oppo and Owen had seen it. So it was completely new to me watching it while sitting at the panel, and I'm very excited. I'm very hyped about it. Here's also the problem though, because I've been kind of out with a concussion, I haven't come up with like a super solid idea for character. I'm more of an improv girly, so I haven't necessarily planned a ton lore-wise. Oh, Rainy Sky, happy late birthday. Happy late birthday. Troubled past. No, not crazy. No, I missed that, by the way. The whole, like, rats. No, crazy. I don't even know what the meme is. The rubber rat. Because I wasn't here for it. I missed it. So I showed up to TwitchCon. I was sitting down at the panel and someone in the front row opened up the paper that said, that had it written on it. And I was like, oh, that's funny. I didn't know it was a meme. Oh, here's one idea I had. Okay, so get this. During the RatsSMP, chat were fleas. You guys were fleas, right? Chat always needs to be something and you guys were fleas. So hear me out. How about for PirateSMP, chat is... Now I was thinking barnacles, but hear me out. I think chat should be rats. I think you should become the rats. Because if there's one thing I think about when I think of pirate ships, I think of rats. Isn't that how, like, rats came from, like, Europe to North America? Like, old world to new world, the rats, like, hopped on board ships? Am I making that up? I'm pretty sure that's true. So, they're like the best little hitchhikers. They're always in pirate ships. They're over there spreading like the bubonic plague and stuff. Portal, thank you. Yes, it was you. Thank you, Portal. Thank you. But yeah, I think you guys should be rats. And you guys should be like little stowaways on my ship. And then you can do like the rat jam, because you were fleas and now you've evolved into rats. So now you guys can become the rat SMP little rat sonas. So if you made a rat sona during rat SMP, you can be that rat. But now I am a human. It's just stages of evolution. Flea to rat to human. You're gonna be a gay rat, you could be a gay rat. Willow! I am Bailey? Yes, absolutely you are. You can 100% be rats. I'm so here for it. I know in the Discord, I'll probably change the flea market name to like the rat market or something, because I'm pretty sure that channel was for the rat SMP. I'll just update it. I'm reading it. Detroit become human. Sorry. But yeah, you guys are evolving from fleas to rats. Fleas to rats. I hope you guys like that idea. I was thinking of barnacles, but I thought rats would be cuter in a way to tie it back to the rat SMP. Also, another question. Will my pirate be called Olive or Oliver? And with that question comes the question of Ollie the Orion sound. Because I think his pirate's name is gonna be Oliver. And I was Oliver during Rats, and he was Ollie. But I think he's gonna be Oliver. Let's just both be Oliver, and then we'll fight for it. Yeah, Ollie said he wants Oliver, and he did say it first, so I think... I think I will just be Olive. Or we will just fight. We're gonna have a little pirate duel. Or a parlay. Actually, I think a parlay is the opposite of a pirate duel. I think parlay is supposed to be like peace talks. You see, I should know that now before we actually become a pirate, because it would be bad if I showed up to a parlay with a gun. Yeah. All right, I'll be Olive or Oliver. I'll probably call myself Oliver just to mess with Ollie. Yeah, parlay is when you're speaking. I'm trying to learn pirate terms, okay? I got parlay, poop deck, starboard and port, walk the plank, crow's nest, anchor. That's all I got. That's all I got. Ahoy, matey. I was gonna save that as a sub goal, because I hate FNAF so much. It scares the crap out of me. You're just saying Sea of Thieves terms? That is where all of my pirate education comes from. That and the faint memories I have of reading Dawn Treader from like the Narnia series when I was like 4. I just remember the word poopda was in that book. And there was a rat in Narnia with a sword. And I think he went to heaven? I was too young to fully comprehend those books. I didn't know what was happening. Port is left because it has 4 letters. Port is left because it has 4 letters. What's the reasoning there? Reapy cheap. Yeah, that's the name of the rat. Okay, so port is left. Starboard is right. Okay, I'll remember that. Maybe. Olive's major malfunctioning printer vibes. Someone drew that on Twitter. I said that once in a tweet. that I feel like a malfunctioning printer and someone made fan art for it on July 7th. Because for some reason I remember the date. Goodbye, C-Frame Gaming, goodbye. Does the SMP have a pirate code? What's a pirate code? Is that like a code of honor that I need to follow? I assume I will learn that tomorrow, whatever that is. I don't think Olive is a pirate. I think Olive is just a person who wound up on a boat and is like, okay, guess I live here now. I think that's how I'm gonna play it. I don't think Olive is a pirate. I don't think they know anything about being a pirate. And they just ended up on a boat. Yeah, maybe they hit their head and they canonically are concussed. And that'll explain a lot, I think. Bow is the front of the ship and stern is the back. I need to make flashcards for myself. Look, I'm already in character. I don't know anything about pirate ships, and neither does Olive. Accidental piracy moment. That's what yep. I like this. I'm gonna go with it. It's all improv, by the way. I don't have any of this planned other than I think chat should be rats. Memory loss arc with traumatic past. Nah. I think I have an idea of where my character comes from, but I also know that,
Love to stay. I have to go get ready to head out for lunch.
have fun at lunch.
Before I go, I would like to say I've been playing Zelda Ocarina of Time and Tears of the Kingdom, but I'm happy you're okay and stay hydrated, Cappy.
Stay hydrated, Cappy. Thank you. Take care of yourself. Also, Malta, thank you for the tips, by the way, about stern. And bow. Bow? No, bow. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, there's 4 factions in Pirates, and I don't know what faction I'm gonna be, or do I? I don't know, it's a surprise. So, yeah. I have some ideas, but I don't want to say. Other than not being an actual pirate and just stumbled into all of this, and maybe I don't even know how to swim. Who knows? Who knows? Another term to remember is portholes, which is what you call a window. Will I have windows on my ship? You don't know, and I don't know. We'll find out. Be a pirate and sell coffee and plants. Ooh, maybe like... Yeah, what's gonna be my character's motivation? What's gonna be my thing? Let's form a monopoly and make money. Nah. I don't know. We'll find out. I think just figuring out how to be a pirate first is a good first step. And then I'll just talk to my rats that live on the ship with me, which is you guys. Oh, I had a question. I had 2 questions. Question 1, which I think I asked at the start of stream, but I forgot to look. I left this part of my hair white, but I'm wondering, should I leave it white or should I dye it purple like the rest of my hair? What would look better? Question number 2. I'm just gonna put them out there both at once. During PirateSMP streams, white is good. Green? Green and purple might look weird. During PirateSMP streams, do I have a face cam or do I not? I know some people do like the Minecraft streams without a face cam because they get into character and they act. I don't know. I feel like I usually like face cam because in group settings, especially since we're using the proximity voice chat again, in group conversations I usually don't talk a lot or I find it hard to interject. So I think having a face cam is nice because I'm not talking, but I can make facial expressions. Face cam but dress as a pirate? I made the mistake of having my pirate wear a cool outfit, but not an outfit I know how to easily replicate. Which is a bit sad. A bit sad. I might have to find something for that. Yeah, face cam? Yeah, I can look at the camera like I'm in the office every time something whack happens. Yeah, I might do that then. I just wanted to check to see what the general consensus was. Get a foam sword that's good enough? I mean, I do have, like, my horseshoe crab in the background. Bring him in as a little friend. Retcon that or visit Party City? Oh yeah, they probably have pirate stuff there. Maybe I'll do that, or maybe I won't. Oh, by the way, I have this little light thing in the corner, but I realize you can't really tell. It's a cute little rainbow, but you can't really tell when it's on because it's a little bit too bright. Oh yeah, I changed up the camera angle a bit so now you can see that there. What are Pirate Olive's pronouns? Probably just they, them. Like it was with Rat Oliver, where the R in Olive stood for rat. Guess I'll be Olive and not Oliver. Ollie can have that one, I suppose. Use a ruler as a sword? I love that idea, actually. I might take that. I might take that. Because again, I'm not a pirate. I just am here for the time being. Okay. I know I had stories to tell, but I'm really bad at storytelling. Are you going back to regular streaming schedule? I'm not entirely sure at the moment. I'm still testing things out. Because I've noticed while I've been home after coming back to America, I feel pretty good during the mornings, but then in the evenings, that's usually when I have a migraine or something like that. So, I don't know. I decided to go live now instead of waiting till later because I wasn't sure how I would feel later, but I'll keep you guys updated. I know for sure I'll be live tomorrow doing PirateSMP. Might go live a little bit beforehand to chat, or maybe after, we'll see. And then, I mean, it is summer break. I might try to... Maybe I'll try every day. Well, we'll see. I'll let you know again on Twitter or on Discord. Whenever. Oh, hit the mic. Sorry about that. Polive, like P-Olive but without the exclamation point. Haha, my name, Polive.
Did you finish the keyboard?
Oh yeah, that's something that I wanted to show you guys. Alright, so for starters, Della bought me a keyboard for my birthday back in March. And it took a while for me to actually get it because it wasn't sent to my home address. And Della, I was waiting to build it on stream when I got back, but my keyboard that I was using wasn't working well, and I was really craving an enrichment activity that didn't involve a computer screen, and this was the only thing I had. So I did build it off stream. I didn't do the Minecraft Lego pieces. So I'm sorry for building it off stream, Della, but it's really nice and I really had a fun time building it. So Della got me a Lego keyboard. So I got to assemble the base of it using Legos, and then this is my first time even interacting with a mechanical keyboard. So being able to put it together, I'm kind of glad that yeah, I'm gonna show it off. I'm just sort of building anticipation, don't worry. I've never interacted with a mechanical keyboard before, so I'm kind of glad I did it off stream, because I had to look up a lot of stuff. Like, I didn't know how to put in a stabilizer for, like, the big keys. I pulled out a stabilizer, I'm like, what? I didn't know I was going to have to put in stuff, like switches. But I learned how, and now I know. Thank you for the bits, by the way. Here, I'll show it off. It's really cool looking. Also, at TwitchCon, they always give out, like, a partner gift, and the gift this year was keycaps. So I did switch out some of the caps with like these little Twitch ones, which is really cute. And then you can't really tell, but I know I could take this apart and put in different Lego pieces, but this is what it came with. So it's like a Lego base that I got to build. You can see the pegboard underneath. And it came with these keys, and I didn't know it was gonna be lights, RGB. I didn't know it was gonna be RGB until after I plugged it in. So it's got like the rainbow lighting, and also it sounds really good. I don't know, can I like type in a text box somewhere so you can hear it? Can you hear that? Is that ASMR? I don't know if you can, but it sounds really good. It feels great to clicky clacky on it. Again, the keyboard I was using before this one was just like a generic keyboard that comes with when you buy like a pre-built desktop or something, not even a gaming keyboard. So this is a huge improvement. So Della, thank you very much. It was really fun putting together. I actually enjoyed it once I got a hang of it. The backspace is a little bit wonky, but it works as long as I press down hard enough. But other than that, it was really, really cool. Do you know what kind of... Oh, I unplugged my headphones. Do you know what kind of switches they are? No, I do not. But they're really nice. I know I could probably fish out the label. I don't have it with me at the moment, but maybe next stream I'll actually have the box out. I can read out things for you. I don't know what kind of switches they are, but it's the, Hello Adam Lego kit. If you look that up, and if they tell you whatever switches was in the kit, that's what it is. Also, I'm gonna take off my headphones and I'm gonna braid my hair because it's getting a little bit warm in my room. A fan is on. Oh, shoot! One thing about like being in the UK for a month, just the fact that nowhere has AC, which I think would be fine if it wasn't summer. It was so warm while I was there. Like, I think even unusually warm for the summer. I think it was just a bit of a heat wave with, you know, global warming and everything, and nowhere really had AC. And then where was I? Where were we? I think it might have been the the Airbnb that we stayed at in Bath was on the top floor and it was so enclosed and it was so incredibly hot. It was awful. And then you have windows you can open, which is usually great for letting in a breeze. But then this Airbnb in particular, the window that opened just wasn't really facing anywhere that a breeze came through. Oh, it was pretty bad. No one has AC, we just pull the curtains and hide. Yeah, Italy, I know, I heard Italy got really, really warm. And then even in Paris during that TwitchCon weekend, it got really warm and muggy. So I know everyone there was really complaining about the heat. It was pretty bad. So I do enjoy having AC being back home, especially living in Florida. I think if we didn't have AC, everyone would absolutely perish. Yeah, it was. It was pretty bad tomorrow. It was wild. But, oh, my hotel though. I stayed at a hotel while I was in Paris instead of an Airbnb, and it had AC, so it was my first time with AC in like a month. I just put that thing on blast, left. Whenever I came back after the convention was over, my room was freezing, and it felt fantastic. The humidity in the UK? Coming from Florida, though, it really wasn't that bad. The humidity here has been awful. If you live in Florida, you probably know at this time of the year, it rains every day around 3 or 4 p.m. It's just always raining at some point in the afternoon. I usually like to go walking at night once the sun is down because it's usually cooler. I open the door. I've never been in such a muggy environment. It's like there's water in the air. It's like being in a warm bath, except you're outside. So, also maybe I shouldn't go walking while being concussed, but I just want to move around, you know? Humidity at its finest. I dislike it greatly. When I was abroad, I lived in a very old UK dorm, and the thick walls kept it nice and chilly, so I'm glad about that. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I'm glad. I can't imagine being stuck in a hot, sweaty, muggy dorm room. I had the opposite problem, actually. When I was in university, the dorm I stayed at my freshman year, the windows weren't well insulated, and the AC unit was the one that's like sticking out of the window. So if the AC wasn't on its highest, most cold setting, it would get so humid in the room that if you had anything taped to the walls, like posters, they would all just fall off because it would just get so like wet on the walls because of the humidity. So it would always have to be on the highest setting. Even if it was only one notch below that, the humidity would just come in. So it was always freezing in my dorm room, like to the point that my fingernails were always blue. They were always purple whenever I was in my room. And if I was on my phone trying to text, you know, if you have really cold fingers, it gets really difficult to text with your thumbs because everything's so numb. So it was hard to text on my phone. I had a little heating pad plugged in. Keep in mind, this is Florida where it doesn't get cold. I had a heating pad that would always keep on my lap when I was at my desk, and I would sleep with it even though you're not supposed to sleep with them on. And I would always have like a really soft bathrobe type thing on me whenever I was inside my dorm. So yeah, I would always try to be in a library to work, and I would just come to my dorm to sleep. It was freezing, which cannot be good for anyone, but that's what you gotta do to keep the humidity out. So I lived in an ice box my freshman year, or at least for a semester. Then the pandemic hit and we all got sent home. I hope you're enjoying these stories. I usually don't do just chatting streams because I feel like I never have like one narrative to follow and I go all over the place. But I don't think I could play a video game and talk at the same time right now. I tried oh, here's something I've been doing. I'm like I'm fine. All over the place is fun. Good. I'm glad. Since coming back, I've been trying to like acclimate myself to being on a computer. Also, I was reading some like brain studies and they're like, hey, maybe when you're recovering from a concussion, it's actually not good to be in a dark room for 2 weeks and you should probably have something to like stimulate your brain. So, I've been playing Dragon Age. For the first time. I don't know why this is my first time playing Dragon Age because I grew up. Yeah, no, here's Elliot, by the way, who is back from their walk. I started with Inquisition because it's the latest one, and like I'm like, hey, I want good graphics. What was I gonna say? I never really knew anything about Dragon Age. I had never interacted with that game for some reason, even though I grew up loving Skyrim. Skyrim was my favorite game in high school. I would play every day. But for some reason, I can play that game while concussed. And here's the reason why. If you know Dragon Age, they give you quests. So for me, it's really easy. I put the combat on casual mode, so it's just click. I'm a mage. I just click and it auto hits. And then there's quests, so it just tells you what to do. Oh yeah, thank you so much for these talking points, Slick. I do have plans. But if you're a fan of Dragon Age, let me just say I'm super into it right now. I only play for like 5 minutes at a time because I have to like pause it and go step away to take a break. But if you know that game, it's perfect because the quests you do on the table like counts real game time. So I can assign people to quests, go lay down in a bed and close my eyes and come back and they'll be done. And then I just like follow a marker and I go collect stuff. And it's just really easy to play when you can't make complex decisions. Versus like Phasmophobia, a game that I love. I don't think I would be able to play that right now because it requires such like mental energy trying to solve puzzles. Because another thing, while being concussed and gallivanting around the UK, it's like God punishes me every time I try to think a complex thought. I'll be completely fine, but the moment I start thinking deeply about anything, it feels like I'm getting stabbed in the eye. I'll just be like enjoying a garden and then I see a thistle plant and I'm thinking, that's a really tall thistle. I wonder if thistles are related at all to sunflowers because of how they grow. And like the second I started going down that train of thought, trying to figure out if thistles are related to sunflowers, I was like, ow! And I just had to stop. So, yeah, I need no-thought games, and for me, Dragon Age, for some reason, is that game. I saw someone in chat ask who my companions are. Dorian. The one with the crossbow. Varric. Iron Bull. That took me a second. Also, Magic! Hello, Magic! How are you doing? How's it going? Okay, I'm getting good choices. They're really fun. I love them. Oh. So, someone mentioned fish tank. If you don't know, I have 2 giant fish tanks in my room. You might be saying, 2? I thought you only had 1. No, that was an update. I have 2 fish tanks now. They're doing great. I spent like all of yesterday pruning the plants and doing some housekeeping on the tanks. Thank you for gifting a sub. I know the sub alerts are pretty quiet, but hopefully you heard the frog sound. Thank you so much, Will. I hope you're doing good. What was I gonna say? What I want to do. I was hanging out with Kara Corvus, and I think she mentioned she has snakes, and she has set a camera up to watch her snakes. So while she was at TwitchCon, she was looking at her phone to check in on how her snakes were doing. And I was like, what if I had that for my fish? I thought, what if I got a 20-foot long HDMI cable, connected it to my camera, and did a fish tank, like 24-hour stream or something? So that way you guys can finally see them, because I can move my camera and show you what they look like. I'm gonna do this with caution, because I noticed if I move my camera and it's a little bit too jerky, the camera will shut off. So I'm gonna try to do it without breaking anything. So give me a second. I'll show you. So those are the fish tanks. It's really green. It's not algae. It's not algae, it's just plants. So what I do is the joy that I get out of fish tanks is not necessarily the fish. Hear me out. I treat it like a science experiment. If you're into fish keeping at all, you might know the Wallstad method, which is a method of keeping fish in a planted aquarium where you don't need filters or any sort of equipment. So it's like a no tech, besides the lights on top, there's no technology, and it's like 80% plants. So it has like aquascaping. It's sort of like that realm of the aquarium hobby, except without I don't know how to stream from my phone, Slick. I never learned that, and I'm too afraid to ask how or even figure it out. So this is also my room, by the way. This is what you see is what you get. It's very simple. So it's like a layer of dirt on the bottom of the tank capped off with sand to keep the dirt from like getting the water dirty and keeping nutrients from leaking. And so 80% of the tank is really plants that are planted into the dirt. And then I add in, oh my gosh, I started with like 4 cherry shrimp. Guys, they have been busy. There's like a bazillion of them in there. There's a whole army of shrimp in one of the tanks, so I had to take some out and put it in the other one. There's a shrimp army. Eat them? No. They're so cute. So, like, you know, the plants, they get nutrients from the soil and the fish poop and the light, and the plants produce oxygen. And then the fish and the shrimp breathe the oxygen and eat any algae that might grow. So it's like a whole ecosystem going on in there. Sorry if I sound congested, by the way. I don't think I've hydrated enough. If you know fish at all, I have 3 Corydoras. I have... Oh my god, guys. Here's an update. If you look up diamond tetras, I had 3 diamond tetras.
Welcome back, Olive. I hope you have a good day.
Thank you, Izamon. And then at one point when I was cleaning the tank and feeding them, I saw 2 little babies. Those babies have grown. When I came back from TwitchCon, now we're at 5, I was feeding them again and I saw another little baby. So I have 6 fish in one tank now when I started with 3. I didn't even think they were gonna have babies because they're supposed to eat their babies, but I guess 1 or 2 survived. So I have a whole generation going on in one of them. 3 Corridoras, 6 diamond tetras, 3 cherry barbs, a gazillion cherry shrimp. I had a pleco, but I made the mistake of buying it from PetSmart and it did die. I think that's it. I have a big snail and a lot of little snails. Yeah. Oh, someone just said don't get a pleco. Oh, but I love them. I love them. Kill, thank you for gifting a sub to Moon. Thank you very much. I love plecos. Plecos are little sucker fish that stick to the wall of the aquarium, for those who don't know fish names. Alright, I'm gonna turn my camera back and try to make sure it doesn't disconnect. Okay. Alright, I did that a couple times. Another day, and it kept disconnecting, but we're good to go. Moon, how are you doing? Hope you're doing good. Moon has been hard at work doing some merch designs for perhaps a second merch drop. Don't have a date for that yet, but that is something else to look forward to as well. Sapphic, oh shoot, you had oral surgery? Best of luck. I remember when I got my wisdom teeth out and I know the feeling. So speedy recovery to you, I hope. So in terms of updates, since I have been gone for like 3 months, would like to get a super long HDMI cable and do some fish tank streams. Maybe you can watch them eat. If I take a little slice of cucumber and I stick it in the sand with a toothpick, all of the shrimps and the snails will come out and start to eat it, and I'll be gone like in 12 hours. It's fantastic. No, I have not, Moon, but I will. Feel free to spam me if I don't. Yeah, and then I thought if I do like a subathon ever again, instead of like stopping stream, I could just, when I am asleep, turn it into a fish tank stream, you know? Just an idea, just an idea. Ba-ba-da-ba. Yep, we got PirateSMP starting, and that will really be my main project for a pretty long time. It will last longer than Rats. I don't know what specifics have been said, but it is planned to last longer than Rats. So that will be my main plan. I know I'm really bad at YouTube. I'm really bad at editing, and it hurts my head, and it'll probably hurt my head more, but I would really like to make a YouTube series out of it, because if you were here for the PirateSMP ride, I was in university at that time, and it just got a little bit too difficult keeping up with like one, streaming doing Rats, and then having to edit videos for it, and then also finishing my degree. But now that I am not in school, maybe I will. Would you maybe hire an editor? I kind of want to learn how to do it myself, because I know it's just one of those things where I have to bite the bullet and just learn how to like it. Are you going full time? Going where? I graduated. Yes, Ariel, yes, I did graduate university in December. So I graduated like a semester earlier than my class would. So yeah, I've been out of university since December and have been streaming full time, which I'm only able to do because of you guys. So thank you very much. It's been so fun and absolutely fantastic. Are you a lawyer now? No. I know if I was in the UK, maybe, but in America, you are only a lawyer. You have to go to law school on top of university. So it's like 4 years of uni plus 3 years of like graduate school. So I haven't gone to law school yet. I still want to. That's still like a plan, a dream of mine. But this is sort of like a little gap year period, since streaming and content creation is going really well and I'm having fun with it, and there really is no rush for graduate school. So yeah, this is what I'm doing in the meantime, and I'll keep on doing this until either I don't like it anymore or it just doesn't work out, and then I'll go to law school and I'll go into like part-time streaming probably, because I don't think I'll ever not like it. But yeah, so it's still in the books, still in the books. Oh, someone said, Olive, going to college in a month. Any advice? So I know at least my freshman year, one of the things I was stressed out about the most was picking my classes. Because especially if you're planning to double major, or the major you're choosing is competitive or you need a lot of credits in, you really have to like build your class plan like semester by semester. It's hard to pre-plan your whole 4-year track because of how quickly classes fill up. Because my brother's going into college now and he had the same issue, but just keep in mind, your freshman year, your first semester, is the most competitive it'll ever get in terms of how quickly classes fill up. Like, the older you get, the more credits you have, you'll be the one taking that class from someone else, so don't worry about it. And just take it semester by semester. Don't worry about planning too much, because things are going to get thrown at you. You might change your major. You can change it as many times as you want, unless your university has a policy, but in my experience, nah, just if you don't like your major, if you don't like your classes, change it earlier rather than later. Don't drink. Or if you do it responsibly. I didn't drink, but I know people who did. Be safe, make good choices. Willow, you change your major and degree title every year? I know I didn't change my degree, I just kept on adding new ones. So I ended up graduating with economics and international relations. And I was tempted to add a third degree. I was really close. And I almost got a certificate for international relations, like, I don't know what's the difference between that and the major, but anyways, just keep on adding stuff. That's my advice to you. I'm drinking water, don't mind me. What to do? Olive, is your college in Florida the equivalent to university? Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, okay, yes, so if someone in America says college, they mean university. You have the university, and then you're part of different colleges inside that university depending on your major. So for example, I was part of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, because those are the categories that my major fell under, but like, it's still university. We just call it college. I don't know why. You know, calling it university sounds more preppy. Ooh, you're working on a poli-sci degree in environmental science. I love environmental science. I've always been a nature kid, and I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't do more of that in university, because bringing this back to me spending a whole month in the UK, the things that I loved the most were going to like science museum and natural history museums, and then just spending time outdoors and experiencing like different flora and fauna. Because it's so different than Florida. Like, it might sound really lame saying this, but like when I was first there and I was being taken back to Elliot's house in Cardiff, one of the things I was excited about the most, keep in mind, hadn't slept for 36 hours, that plane ride was something else. I was so excited about just looking at the ground and picking wildflowers. We don't have like wildflowers in Florida because all the lawns have like pesticides or like weed killers. And all the lawns is like very spiky. I think it's called St. Augustine grass. So it's just grass, and it's spiky grass that will like cut you up if you lay in it, and there's ants in all the grass, and there's no flowers or anything growing from it. So just in Cardiff, they I don't know if Elliot is here, they can, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, you were talking about how they stopped mowing the grasses, like the public lawns, as like an environmental initiative to help like bees. like the bee population, so they stopped mowing their public lawns. So all of it is like wildflowers and stuff just growing. And it's really cool. So I was just going picking flowers, like, oh, a poppy. I've never seen one of these before in real life. So honestly, I feel like my UK trip, when I think about memories, most of it has to do with nature or science museums. So I kind of wish I did something like that in college. Now looking back on it and just knowing that's something that I think interests me a lot. Even with my fish tank that I just described, I think I took one environmental science class for like a science credit that I needed, and I really enjoyed it. So I guess college advice for anyone, just think about what interests you naturally. Yeah, simply get a third degree. I'm gonna be honest, I told Elliot, I was like, listen, I'm just streaming full time. I could take classes. What if? What if? What's stopping me? And then I think about it realistically. I'm like, actually, a lot is, for one, I'm not on scholarship anymore, so... Ooh, you're planning on taking environmental science and astronomy. That sounds like a really good combination, genuinely. In the past 20 minutes, I've learned so much about America. Alright, well here's another topic of conversation we can move on to, is differences between America and the UK that I experienced. First and foremost, I don't like yogurt. I don't like dairy products. At least I thought. I tried yogurt from like a chain coffee cafe, not Starbucks, like Black Sheep, something in the UK. The yogurt was so good. So if you're American here, do you know when you like open a yogurt or something and you can smell the yogurt, and it has a very specific yogurt taste that's a little bit sour. Not in a, oh, it's bad way, but it just has a little bit of a sour or acidic taste, and you can smell it. Like, if you're in a classroom and someone eats yogurt, you know someone's eating yogurt, okay? You smell it. This yogurt smelled like nothing. It had no scent to it, and you eat it, and it just tastes like cream or milk. Like, it had no sour taste to it. It just tastes like cream. So I was trying to explain to Elliot, like, oh my god, it's not sour. I think I like yogurt. I just don't like yogurt in America. I think they use different enzymes in the dairy making process. Did you eat a Greek yogurt? And no, I don't know. I don't know, but it didn't taste like yogurt and was fantastic. yeah, that's what it was. I was like, oh my god, it tastes like milk. And I did actually end up looking it up with Elliot. There is a different like enzyme process used when making dairy products in America. I think it's just a different bacteria culture, like a completely different culture that's used in America compared to the UK. So it just has a different taste. So yeah, it's... Now you see, I say sour yogurt, and if you're British, you're probably like, what? But it's not sour, but it is kind of sour. Yeah, so hey, if you're in America and you don't like yogurt because of the reasons I described, you might actually like yogurt in a different country. Yeah, I don't like milk or anything either. I also realized I thought I was really picky, but in America, I love mozzarella cheese. I spent some time in Italy in high school, and I fell in love with mozzarella and tomato, like just caprese salads and stuff. But in America, I can only have like one brand, because I feel like any other brand of mozzarella has a sour taste to it. And now I'm realizing I think it's just the dairy that things are made out of in America. It has that sour taste. Even cheeses, like milky soft cheeses like mozzarella. So being in Europe and getting mozzarella and having it just taste like milk without any weird taste was fantastic. So, like, speaking of differences between countries, that was a big one that I noticed. I had yogurt in Paris and it was weirdly really thin. I did not have yogurt in Paris, so I cannot confirm or deny this, but I did have mozzarella and it was delicious. I had such good food that entire month. Wolfie, how are you doing, Wolfie? I'm honestly a little bit hungry. I didn't eat much before starting stream, but the food was so good. Like, the ingredients were so fresh, and then it really is real. Like, you talk about in America the amount of ingredients that are in every food, like snack. If I took a package of something in the UK and turned it over to look at the ingredient list, it's so small. It's so tiny. And then if you had that same product in America, it would be like double the length. What are they putting in there? I don't know. I almost took a food science class in college, but then I didn't because the professor was mean. I wish I did though, because now I'm really curious about it. Yeah, probably preservatives and things like that.
Olive, what's your opinion on the grandparent strawberry candies?
I've had them before and I do like them. Also, Wolfie, thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a good sleep. What else? Oh, I also picked up some British terms. I call trash cans bins because it just makes more sense. Trash cans is a little bit too wordy. Bins is one syllable and just makes more sense. Also, saying what's the phrase? I'm not fussed. I think more people should say the phrase I'm not fussed. Because if someone asks you if you want to do something and you say, oh, I don't care, it kind of sounds rude, like, oh, I just don't care about what we're doing. But if you say, oh, I'm not fussed, it sort of means like, we can do whatever. I don't mind. So I don't care just sounds ruder. I'm not fussed. It has a better connotation to it, and it really, I feel like we're missing that phrase in the American dialect. So I've been saying that a lot. I'm not fussed. It's kind of like I don't mind, but instead of saying I don't mind, I'm not fussed. I don't know, it just feels better. I like that. Yeah, it's a good one. I think we should start using that as I'm not fussed. Instead of saying, oh, we can do whatever, or I don't care. And then it rolls off the tongue better. Yeah, exactly. So there's I'm not fussed. I'm getting it sorted. Is that a British phrase? Like, oh, I'll get it sorted. I feel like I hear that a lot more with the UK people than in America. So I've been saying that a lot. Bin, a shout. That's a good shout. Been saying that. Nah. Sorry, my nose is a bit stuffy. It does sound British, doesn't it? I think it might be. I'm gonna drink some more water. Oh shoot, being in the car, I was in the car with Willow, and Willow was driving, and being in the passenger seat, but being on the opposite side of the road was so weird. It felt like I was in a roller coaster. It was really, really weird. I've never been in a country, like, I've never been on the opposite side of the road. Like, I was in the driver's seat, but obviously not driving. That was a weird one, but that's like an obvious difference, I think. Oh, and then the fact, because they drive on opposite side of the road, in America, if you're walking on a sidewalk, you usually, or you're going up the stairs or on a sidewalk, you usually stay on the right side of the sidewalk. And then in the UK, you have to walk on the left side. So I kept on not bumping into people, but I kept on having to like adjust myself because I kept on forgetting to stay to the left, especially if we were going up or down stairs. And then when we went to France, Elliot kept on walking on the left side instead of the right side, because in France they drive back on the American side again. No, yeah. Oh yeah, another thing. It's quieter, like in stores. I think in America, like stores are so loud, and it might just because people are talking louder and maybe it's just a lot more crowded in general, there's always music blaring, like really loud music, and then every cash register or machine makes really loud beeping noises. But then being in stores in the UK, everything's so quiet. If there even is music, which there really wasn't a lot of the time, it was a lot more quiet. And no, I'm not speaking for every store. I'm sure some of them get quite loud. But I went to an IKEA, and it was so quiet in that IKEA. There were no beepings. There was no music. There were people, but they weren't really talking. And it was really nice. I was like, wow, I can actually go shopping and not feel completely overwhelmed and have to take a 2-hour nap when I get home. This is fantastic. Ooh, what other things did I experience? If you want, I can call Elliot, and Elliot can tell you how whack it was trying to take care of me for a whole month. Oh, good night, Avril. Yes, it is 1 a.m. for you. You're in a whole different time zone. Get some sleep. Get some sleep. Elliot, do you want me to call you? Do you want to have a discussion about funny concussion stories? Is it time to tell funny concussion stories? Because I don't know if I remember everything. I'm gonna be honest. I think my memory is a bit backlogged. Let me hear. I'll pause this. I'll call you. All right, let's see. Hold on. What was the best bit of the UK? I feel like I can't give an honest answer because I was concussed for half of it. But I really... Wait, say something?
Hi.
I can hear you. You're just really quiet. I was just gonna say, I think my favorite bit of the UK was... I really liked Oxford. I liked the museums quite a lot. I mean, I was willing to try to go to them while concussed, is how much I liked them. We went to the museum. Yeah, I just hear. There was the museum. The Museum of Science, and I saw Einstein's blackboard. I thought, and I took a we got a picture underneath it. I thought that was kind of cool.
That was cool.
I wasn't concussed during that though.
No, that was the day before, or the day of, one or the other.
I think that was the day before we went to the science museum. I'm gonna turn you up here. Start talking, and I'm gonna slowly turn you up.
Okay. Hello. If you don't know me, I am Elliot. I was Olive's guide and also nurse for their UK time. Is that okay?
Is this a good volume? If we're both talking like this, is this okay?
Yes. Does this work?
All right, I'm getting some there you goes.
That feels like a good sign.
So I'm relying on you to describe how I was acting because I don't know.
Well, it was interesting. I don't even know where you want me to start. I mean, because Olive is not the kind of person.
Well, how about how loud was it when I hit my head?
Oh, you did that thing where, like, you know, when you get hurt and you just kind of involuntarily go, ow. You did that where your body just goes like, ah, and then you're like, ow.
I'm pretty sure I like fell to the ground on my knees, like, ow.
Yeah, you did. And then I walked over to you and I was like, are you okay? And you're like, yeah, it's fine. I'm just going to go shower. And I was like, okay.
And then,
sure.
I know when I hit my head, I like felt my teeth vibrate.
Yeah. It was,
I don't know.
Have you described how it happened?
I did. I described,
okay.
I had rolled off the bed. So it was less about how hard I hit my head and more about the momentum that my body was going. Because I hit my head on this side and completely fine. No bruising, no bleeding. Like, I could even touch it and it wouldn't hurt. But what happened when I hit my head, my brain bounced against my skull on this side, and that part of the brain got bruised and was probably bleeding, which caused pressure everywhere.
Love called a counter coup for anyone who's
counter coup concussion.
COUP,
which
like a
coup. Can overthrow the king.
Yeah, overthrow your brain.
Overthrow my brain. And we learned that because 3 days later, we got the nerve, like, we had to build up courage. I didn't want to call anyone, but we called
You did not.
111. And the physician that we talked to, I described how I hit my head, and he was like, "That's a counter-coup concussion." And we looked it up, and we're like, saw a gif of someone like bonking their head, and I'm like, "Yeah, that looks about right."
Pretty
my
accurate.
brain did a little bit of a jiggle and got bounced around in my skull. Because they're like, yeah, do you have bruising on your head? Is there bleeding? Is there any, like, did you crack your skull? And I'm like, no, but...
It was entirely internal, which I feel like is almost worse. I feel like I would rather you have, like, I don't know. Actually, no, maybe you shouldn't have cracked your skull. That would have been worse, actually.
I mean, it would give me an
worse.
excuse to go to, like, the ER as soon as I got my head hit, but to me, I thought it was just a little bit of a bump.
Yeah.
And... yeah, so I think counter-coup concussions with that recoil is what it is. That's the word I was trying to look for. Is very common in like car accidents because of the momentum of your like the brain bouncing in your skull. I wasn't in a car accident. I just rolled off the bed and hit the ceiling.
I remember speaking to the head injury specialist, and you were like, "Yeah, I hit my head in the ceiling," and he went,
He was like,
"Right."
He was like, "Right? How did you manage that?"
And then you described him as like, "Oh, that makes more sense. Okay." But initially he was like, "That is not how that happens."
He's like, "How did you get a counter-coup concussion? Like hitting your head against the ceiling?" Because it's like a car accident thing.
Yeah. And out of the two of us, you are much shorter than me, so I thought I was gonna be the one getting bonked.
Yeah,
but
and
no.
that's the thing. I'm short.
Yeah. This is like the one good thing about being short is that you don't hit your head on stuff, and you lost that.
I really threw my body into that bed roll, and it went all wrong. And then I told you later, but I hit my head again in the shower, which I don't think contributed to anything, but maybe it did. I had bent down to pick up something, and when I stood back up, my head hit the handle because it was a small shower. And you know, you're traveling, it's your first time in a new shower, and you don't know where things are. Not that hard. I didn't feel my teeth vibrate. But I did think, oh wow, I'm really clumsy tonight.
Maybe it was because you were just being concussed, so you were feeling more clumsy and dizzy that you did that.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But yeah, I think everything was kind of fine until the next morning.
I cannot describe how difficult it was to get you to wake up. I woke up and I was like, "Hey, Olive, good morning." I don't even know if you made a sound. I think you just moved. I was like, "Cool, I'm gonna let you sleep." And it was like, I let you sleep for an extra hour or so, and you just did not want to get up. You did not. It was rough.
I had attributed it to, oh, we had just traveled in from Bath and had like a whole day of traveling. So I'm just tired. But no, I just couldn't wake up. It was very difficult to move, which is like the muscle fatigue or whatever people in chat were saying at like the zoo when I was telling that story. Like, I couldn't get out of bed.
Oh god, the zoo. Yeah.
Oh god, the zoo.
Just remembered having to like lay you down on a public bench. And I was like, "Hey, Olive, do you want to go look at the tapir? The tapir is, if you get this bench, it's closer." And you're like, "No, this one here." Yeah, no, we were at the Natural History Museum, and you just mentioned, the next day. This is the same day as you struggling to wake up, and you're like, "Oh, my head kind of hurts," and I was like, "Oh no, I'm sorry." And then I got you water and stuff, and then you mentioned it like 2 or 3 more times, and I was like, Olive never mentions if there's something wrong. Olive is like a cat.
I don't.
Like, if there's something wrong with you, you don't talk about it. Like, you don't mention the pain.
I don't really complain, so I think
never.
Because I was when you were like, "Oh yeah, I'll go get you Tylenol," I was like, "Oh wow, Elliot's really nice."
But you just talked about having like a really bad headache, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll go get you like paracetamol, like medication." It's
like, wow, that's so nice. Because usually, like, if there's something wrong with me while I'm out, you kind of just wait till you're back home.
Yeah, it was not good. You were in so much pain, and that museum was like so hot, and
it was a warm day with no AC. Yeah. And at the time, the headache was a different type of headache than I've ever had. Also, someone said, Olive, you're using a kettle. Yes. It's a French press, baby.
Yeah.
I don't have a kettle. I have an automatic hot water dispenser because everyone in my family drinks hot liquids. Anyways.
Anyways.
Listen, I live with a Chinese grandmother. They don't believe in drinking cold water. It all has to be hot. So we just have like a dispenser that's constantly hot, and you just press the button and it comes out.
What is better for you to drink?
I think
I
some
don't
people
know.
just say that. I really don't think
Yeah,
there's a
I
difference.
don't. Cool. I've heard that. I don't know.
Was the museum worth it?
Well, we went back the next day, if that
We
answers your
tried
question.
to go back the next day.
Yeah.
Because we thought, like, oh, yeah, you probably feel bad. You hit your head. Maybe tomorrow you'll feel better. Let's go back again. Let's do part 2.
There's so much.
It was significantly
all the
worse.
bones.
Going back
Yeah.
the next day was worse. I think we were
That was
genuinely out for
terrible.
3 hours, and we were like, okay, let's go back home.
Yeah,
It was like 3 hours, and I was like, I can't do it. I was
I
trying,
think.
and then I was trying to, whenever I try to explain something to Elliot, because I'm a big science nerd and Elliot isn't. So whenever I was trying to explain something scientific, I would like stop and be like, oh, ow. Because
Mhm.
every time I thought deeply about something, I got like a stab in my head.
This is when we first learned of the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, we started
Now,
calling it the Shadow
yes.
Realm whenever.
Mhm. And it is a difficult. It is probably my. Well, it's just difficult to. You just can't
Imagine
think.
being out with an unresponsive person that you have to drag along like a balloon. Like a limp balloon. You have to drag them places and they won't talk to you and they're completely unresponsive. That's what we call the Shadow Realm. And that's what I was whenever we went outside.
Is when we walked past like an ice cream shop and Olive went, ice cream. And I said, do you want ice cream? And they're like, no. I didn't like.
I don't know why I said ice cream. I don't know why I verbalized what I saw.
But like, you said it like you wanted it and you were staring at it. And I was like, I'll get you ice cream, Olive. And you're like, so then I got you an iced coffee. And then so I just put the fly on the sandwich, so it was really funny. Anyway.
The thing is, that was like the first thing
It
I
was
had
bad.
said in like 10 minutes.
Yes, it was bad. I can't.
And the
It
thing is,
was-
I don't
you
like
just
ice
weren't
cream.
there.
She's like, do you want it? I'm like, no.
And you're usually very chatty and you always have something to say about something.
Yeah, I'm usually like an
so-
absolute chatterbox, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then dead silent after I hit my head. I couldn't think. There was no thoughts happening at all.
Yeah. And I would just like, even stuff like, I'd be like, hey, do you want to sit down on this bench? And I could see you like trying to consider and then just giving up.
So I just had you decide for me. Like, do you want to
Yeah.
sit down? I'd be like,
Do I?
do I want to? Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't even like answer a yes or no question.
No. It was, you couldn't speak.
And I don't know if the problem was even comprehending your question or trying to form an answer. Nothing was going. The synapses were not
Nothing.
firing.
It was not. I think that's when we realized that, hey, maybe you should rest and stay home, even though you didn't.
I really
want
didn't
to.
want to. And then
No.
I would be like
Because you're
in
not
the
so.
Shadow Realm at home too, and just every now and then I would have a window of clarity. Like it would be like some random evening, and for an hour I'm like talking again, and I feel fine, and then it's gone.
That one evening that you took like a really cold shower and you came out and you're like, I'm back.
Oh yeah, I took a cold shower, and I guess it
Yeah.
like cooled down like the swelling in my head, because the problem is like when your brain is bruised or it's bleeding, like your brain like it swells, and that's like what the pain and everything comes from. So I think taking a cold shower felt great. I came out, I'm like, Elliot, I'm awake. Like, whoa, I can
This
think.
was also at 11 o'clock at night, so I was tired. So I couldn't really even like, I was like, great, oh, that's really great.
Good for
I'm
you,
so
Olive.
glad- I'm so happy. Can I go to bed? I was like, please.
I was like, no, let's talk.
Yeah, I mean, it was great.
But then I woke up the
Um,
next morning. I'm
yeah.
like, it's gone.
Yeah, and it was back. Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was mostly literally taking care of you was just you need to drink water. And like I would just I wouldn't even ask you. I would
Single
just hand you my
mom who
bottle.
works two jobs, who loves her
who loves her
kids,
kids,
and
and
never stops.
exactly. That was me, except I was one child, and that child, well, two, you and your concussion. It's
Yeah.
two whole people.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It was. I mean, yeah, it was bad.
I know
It
it.
was really bad.
I think I only realized how bad it was
Birthday.
when.
It's my birthday.
Happy birthday, Nebby.
Happy birthday, Nebby. Happy birthday.
And thank you for resubscribing. I think I only realized how bad it was. We were in Oxford. I don't remember where we tried to go. I think we tried to hit another museum because I was feeling decently okay and I had medicine.
I think it was Pitt Rivers.
It was the Pitt Rivers Museum, which I did a lot of
it?
reading, I think, with the
Yeah.
signs because they were really interesting. And in order to hit the bus to get back home once I started feeling bad, we were at the mall for quite a while trying to find food.
Oh my god.
And
oh my god. Yeah.
I was just
The
wearing
fruit.
sunglasses.
Do you remember the fruit?
I briefly mentioned that, but I feel like you would explain it better because I was not there mentally for any of it. I was like a zombie.
I took Olive to a Pret to the UK. and
Pret
the
a
Europeans-
manger.
Pret a manger, which just means ready to eat in French. It's like like a sandwich. Like you can just buy like ready-made food, and they have little fruit pots. I think it was melon or cantaloupe or something. And I bought it, and obviously like sat down to eat it with you, and you opened it. And you,
I feel wait.
put one
I
in
feel
your
like
mouth.
I need to preface this by saying this
Yes.
is when I realized how out of it I was because
Yes. Mhm.
I'm the one in my family who sniffs everything to tell whether or not it's out of date or if it's expired. And I'm like really sensitive to if things are off or if they taste weird.
And you would none of those things.
I had a cup
You
of
would love
cantaloupe.
that.
I genuinely I just took one, I put it in my mouth, I was chewing it. And I don't know if
It had
anyone
10, 15 seconds.
I don't know if
I just
anyone
thought you
here
didn't like melon.
and the thing is, if anyone here has had off melon, it's like it has like a spicy taste to it. Something about it, because of the fermentation, is like tangy and a bit spicy, and it was making my tongues kind of tingle. So I was eating it, and I'm like, wow, nothing about this tastes like a melon. And I'm just chewing it, and I'm just there are thoughts that are not connecting. And
Yeah,
in
it
no way did it taste like any sort of melon. I know now
Mhm.
that thing tasted 100% off. If you even put that close to me right now, I'd be like, oh, this is off, don't eat it. But I was chewing that for a good 20 seconds.
You did. I could tell that you weren't enjoying it, but you kept chewing
Yeah,
it.
I was-
So I was like, "Are you okay? Do you
I
not
was
like
making
it?"
the
Yeah.
face while I was eating it, and you looked at me and you said something.
Yeah. I said, "Do you not like it?"
And then that's when I was
Are
like,
you okay?
when you asked that question, that's finally when something kicked into gear, and I was like, and I just like spit it
Yeah.
into a napkin. I'm like, this is bad. It's this is expired. Like,
Yeah. It was.
its full
bad.
like fermentation process was happening.
It was that entire day. Just like.
Oh god, my brain
That's
wasn't
what I can-
working.
I was literally Olive. I was walking. I had to like. You had to lean on me, and we were linking arms.
Oh yeah.
You had your sunglasses on. We were inside like an air-conditioned mall, and like you had like your loose like flannel on.
I looked
and I was
extremely
walking you through.
hungover
look
or
hung- you look-
high because
Yeah,
I was wearing
one
a
or the
really
other.
loose flannel,
Yeah.
had my sunglasses on, and was like leaning against you, and then had to
Mhm.
sit down on a bench like every 4 minutes. Honestly,
Less than that. It was every few steps, and it was really bad.
it was hard to. I couldn't. The muscular fatigue. Just I couldn't. My brain being like, okay, move, step, step, step. It was not connecting to my muscles, so it was really hard. And then there was one point we were trying to catch the bus to leave the city and
Oh,
get back to the
gosh.
Airbnb, and you started walking really fast, and I was really behind you, and I was thinking to myself, I can't walk any faster than this. Like, I just can't. It's not even that I'm tired, because I can push. I think I'm a resilient person. I can push through pain. Like, I could probably run a marathon, and I might be dying, but I'll do it. I could not walk faster physically.
I remember looking back because I was trying to get to the bus stop and I was looking at you and I was like, oh no.
I was like,
Oh no.
I can't do it. And so I feel like it was that night. Was that when we finally called 111?
No, it was the next day.
The next day. We even waited another day after that.
It might have even been a day after that, honestly. We waited. I think we were just like, if it doesn't get better within a few days, then we'll call someone. And then it didn't.
And then it didn't get better for like a month.
Yeah. No. But we saw the doctor. Did you tell him what the doctor said?
Counter concussion, baby. And then, then I had I had an online exam with a lady who was just like, raise your arm, smile, stick your tongue out. You're fine. You're not dying. Yeah. They were also like, you've had this for 3 days. Most people like die in the first 4 hours, so like you're probably not gonna die. Like, call the ER if it gets worse. I was like, all right. But how do I know if it gets worse? Like, every symptom's kind of new. You know? Hold on, we got a raid from my favorite Moo over here. FG Moo! Thank you so much for the raid. I know I don't have the sound alert on because I realized I did turn everything down. Hey, you know what? Perfect timing. Moo, have whatever you call it, post-concussion syndrome or whatnot, which I know is something you have been suffering from for a very long time. Welcome in, Raiders. Moo, thank you very, very much. I hope you guys are doing good. What were you up to? I'm on the call with my friend Elliot, or Lavender Mole, in chat, because they were taking care of me the whole time I was in the UK with a concussion. Moo, it's awful. I know, I made jokes about you being, like, concussed. I'm so sorry. This is terrible. So, like,
I remember even you did actually say that at one point. You're like, I need to message Moo.
I know.
And then, like, okay.
Moo, I actually don't know if I ever messaged Moo, but at one point I was like, I should message Moo about, like, what's normal and what's not normal, because I'm dying. But yeah, so hey, here's FG Moo, my concussion twin. I think I can say that now. Although I do think you are a lot worse than me, because I feel really good today. I think I am getting better slowly but surely. Is that karma or something? I'm gonna say yes. I'm doing pretty okay now, I guess. But we're telling stories about how it progressed. Oh, it was awful. I had a counter-coup concussion. I don't know if that's what you had, Moo, but that's what I had. And I got it from rolling into a ceiling. And I didn't go to the doctors. Elliot, what were we talking about? Why were we? Hi, Sina.
Yeah, so we eventually did go to a doctor after like 3 or 4 days. But I remember
we didn't go to a doctor. We like set up a Zoom conference on an iPad.
It was free.
But it was free. So, I utilized the free healthcare system in the UK, and a long waiting time. But honestly, I mean, fine. And then I got like a prescription for cocodamol. Did I say that right? And you paid like how many pounds for it?
£4.
£4 for like a prescription. And I was like, wow, that's insane. That would be like $30 in America probably. Yeah. And you can't even get that drug in America without like a doctor prescription. So
yeah, I just fully walked into the pharmacy and said, hey, my friend has a concussion. Yeah, I wasn't even symptoms, and they were like, cool, take this. I didn't even have to give proof.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't even there. You literally went in and said, hey, concussion medicine, and they just gave it to you, like no doctor prescription or anything. I was like, whoa, this thing has like drugs in it.
Oh yeah, it fully says on the label like don't take off
it's
more than 3 days in a row because it's addictive.
It is an opioid. Part of it is a small dosage, and that's the thing that people get addicted to. So I never took it because I was kind of afraid to, but I do have it.
Just in case.
Yeah, and for £4.
You have a habit of getting very sick very often.
And then you got me pretty good ibuprofen, like the most expensive one, Nurofen, because it's fast acting, and even that was very cheap compared to what it would be in America for like a bottle of Advil. Also, Ace, please, thank you for subscribing. Yeah, if anyone's just popped in, I've been gone for 3 months. I was in the UK for a month. Even after I came back after TwitchCon, I've been concussed. So Elliot's been taking care of me, so Elliot has funny stories, and I'm relying on that because I'm gonna drink some coffee.
Yeah, I mean, my entire like experience of be taking care of you while you were concussed was literally like I just would be like, okay, we're doing this. Initially I would
And
sort of ask you, but at a certain point I just like was like, okay, we're like, I'm gonna give you like a cold flannel. I'm gonna order food.
which is
I'm
a
gonna do this and
washcloth,
that.
by the way. A
Yeah. Oh,
flannel in the
yes.
UK is
Yeah.
is a
It's a
washcloth.
washcloth,
It's not a
like a
cool
flannel.
jacket with a cool pattern. It's a so
No,
yeah,
but you
actually
did have one
what
of
you did
those.
was fantastic. What Elliot would do, because I oh, the head pain, by the way. I knew when I was getting that first headache on that first day that this might be a concussion because I've never had a headache that felt like that before. It's like in like pressure on your brain. Like you could feel that pressure. Like a band of it around my forehead. And I was thinking, because I know what a concussion is. I know it's like, hey, your brain is swelling and there's like some bleeding going on. So I know it would feel like pressure. So I felt it. I felt that and I thought, I was like, hey, Elliot, do you think I have a concussion?
And then we put together like,
And it
oh,
was
wait,
when
you
I was
have
laying in the
really
grass
bad-
outside of the museum with a jacket over my
Yes.
head.
Mhm.
And then I had Elliot look it up because I didn't want to be like, oh, I have a concussion. So I had
Did
you look it up and you confirm it.
Did you tell them about the nausea you had? That was horrific.
That
That
was
one
the
night
worst.
when you got
Actually,
so
that was
the worst.
there was
wasn't it?
one point where I feel like I hit rock bottom and it was the
Yeah,
worst night.
it was
But
in
then after
London.
that, I do feel like I steadily got like a little bit better that allowed me to actually
yeah.
go
After
outside
that,
after that.
100%.
But it was one night I hadn't felt
Yeah.
nauseous this entire time, which was odd because that kept on coming up as a concussion symptom.
Mhm.
Was it like 2 weeks later? Was this
It
2 weeks into having the concussion? I was feeling good. I was having one of those moments of clarity where I wasn't in the shadow realm. And I had gone up to like use the bathroom and I came back to bed and I had just done the thing where you like flop into bed. And I flopped into bed, I was laying there, and then like
You
some
just
some
jangled
some
your brain
seconds
about.
go by. I have my eyes closed. I'm like getting ready to sleep. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm laying there, uh-oh.
Before you told me,
Uh-oh.
I was about to fall asleep, and you're like,
Because we
while
were
my
both
flew
fully
up.
falling asleep. And I was like,
Yes.
and I turned over, I'm like, Elliot,
It's like, yes.
I feel nauseous.
I was like, okay, let's go to the bathroom
No, but
immediately.
here's the thing. You
yeah.
like sat me up and I was just sitting there for a while trying to like
Yeah.
see it like
That
is it gonna
was-
go away? Okay. And then we full on like sat down in the kitchen. And
That
then we're
wasn't
sitting there
enough.
for a while. I'm like, oh, okay, I think I feel better. And we started walking back to the bedroom. And then as we were walking back, I was like, actually, can we go sit in the bathroom?
Mhm.
And then we just sat in
It
the
was so
bathroom for like 30
bad.
minutes. And I was never
Yeah.
sick, but I definitely felt like I was. I refuse to throw up. I refuse to. I don't care how
Yeah.
nauseous I get. I'm like, nah, we're not doing that. We don't need to. It's all in bed. Yeah, we had a
Mind
bit
games.
of we had a bathroom party.
It was
It was
great.
actually quite bad because it wasn't okay, not to get too much into the details of nausea, but I didn't feel it in my stomach. I felt it in my head, and that's usually how it is for me anytime I've been like nauseous. I feel dizzy in my head, and then I'm sick. Devin, thank you for the 5 gifted subs in the middle of this very not gross story.
Yeah, definitely not.
Thank you very much, Devin. I hope you're doing well. I know you've been here for like a whole year. I hope you're doing good. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I wasn't sick, so the story isn't gonna get worse, but it was
Yeah,
weird
they were
because
fine.
I felt such pain and the back of my neck, the back of my head and like the base of my skull was really aching and just felt tight and sore.
You said you had like a neck headache.
I
and
had like a
did not
headache in
know-
my neck. I don't
Yeah,
know
that
how
was
else to describe
interesting.
it. It's like having a headache, but in like your neck, like your brain stem, is what was inflamed that day, I guess. And I
yeah.
thought, well, maybe the reason why I'm dizzy and nauseous is like the cerebellum is at the back of your head, and that it accounts for balance. I took one psychology class in high school, and I think that's true. I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure. But yeah, apparently that is a concussion symptom. I just got it 2 weeks in instead of immediately. But even now, if I get a migraine, usually my neck gets sore along with it. So that's a thing I developed. Good thing though, after that night of sitting in the bathroom trying not to be sick, things steadily got better and better. I did get
They did.
nauseous though sometimes when we were out. Like, oh, we walked along the River Thames, which is really cool because that was my first time being able to see London because I was
yeah,
cooped
yeah.
inside the Airbnb for like the
I hardly
rest of
saw
the week.
any of London.
But just
I felt
looking
so
at the
bad.
moving water, which I love. I love water. I love aquariums. I'm looking at the water and I turn to Ellie. I'm like, wow, I'm nauseous. And we were like out, like we had walked like 40 minutes from the Airbnb too. So I just had like sit on benches and try to calm down. And even just looking at cars driving by, I was like, oh, help.
The thing about Olive that I love is if you ever hang out with the person, you're like an NPC. Like you just feel like voice lines, so it wouldn't be like conversation. So you just be like, I'm nauseous, I'm dizzy, I'm cold. It's just really funny. 'Cause it's like, you know, like Link in Legend of Zelda, and he'll just make like a sound effect, like a. It was like that. It's just, it's funny in hindsight, but it's good because I knew how you were feeling because you would just say like,
That's true. I was cold.
I'm
I know I
dizzy."
just talked about the heat wave, but I was cold a lot. I get cold really easily. And I didn't notice until you pointed it out, but whenever I'm cold, I go.
You do. And I've never known anyone who's done that because that's like a
It's
thing
like
they put
Link
in,
from
like...
Breath of the
Yes.
Wild. Whenever he's cold and you go into the settings menu and he's like.
I've never known someone to actually shiver and like make the sound. Like I know people shake, I shake, but it's just funny. It was really funny.
And you kept on
But you also
pointing
have, like,
out
good,
every
happy
sound
sounds.
effect I would make, and I was like,
Yeah,
shoot, you're right, I'm an NPC.
you are. You make so many sound effects. It's great. It's so
I
funny.
don't, what even, you mentioned other ones, like, if I was eating and I liked the food, I'd go,
Yeah. Minecraft villager. You do like lovely little like Also the boo doo is my favorite.
Oh, yeah, I'll be walking and I'll just be like, I'm sorry, it's peak NPC energy.
It's my favorite thing.
Thank you, Maggie.
It's great.
Thank you so much. I also see Appo's here. How you doing, Appo?
Hello, Apple.
Kiki, thank you so much. Thank you for the resubs. I really appreciate it. We are telling concussion stories because that's been my life for at least a month. Yeah, I do make NPC sound effects, and I think that's primarily how I communicated while concussed.
Yeah, that's what you do normally, but I think because your brain was on like you had one cell left, it was that one cell was just devoted to communicating how you were doing.
I don't even think it happens automatically. I don't notice I'm making sounds.
No,
I don't. When I was in Rats, and whenever in Rats SMP I was going upstairs, I would make a sound because Scott mentioned it. Like, oh yeah, I knew it was Olive. I would be like, like there always has to be some sort of sound effect to go with an action. So apparently my going up the stairs sound is.
And sometimes I'd just be like walking next to you and you just go, shadow realm. I'd be like, cool, this is where we are. We're here now. Okay,
oh,
got it.
and I
That's
feel
good.
the need to tell the story about where the term shadow realm comes from. So we ended up using that to describe whenever I was in my brain fog state of I can't talk, I can't think right now. But we started, shadow realm came from earlier on in our trip before I was concussed. Because someone had the bright idea of going to visit a graveyard, which was really cool.
Oh my God.
It was a graveyard in
Bath.
just a graveyard in the countryside, a really old graveyard, really cool.
It was cool.
But then we found a trail and we just kept on walking, I think, just assuming the trail will lead us out of the graveyard. But no, the trail led us into a forest, and that forest just kept on going, and it was like the sun sets at like 11 p.m. It was like 10:50 p.m. at night. The sun setting. We're in the woods. We don't know where we are at this point.
No
The
water or
trail
food,
led
by the
us
way.
to like a dead end, and there was a stone wall we found, but it was private property on the other side. And I was like, listen, Elliot, we can jump the fence. If we get caught, we just say, I'll talk. I'll be like, hey, I'm an American tourist. I'm lost in the woods. It's dark. Help. But we're too socially anxious, so we didn't. And we ended up making it out, but we were genuinely in the woods for like how many hours?
Like two or three at least. Like it was and because I had my Google Maps on, and it was telling me to go through a path, and we got there and it said private property. So
And it was fully fenced up. Like we would have to jump
Yeah.
a fence to get out of these woods. And then we didn't have water. We didn't have food.
Nope.
It was getting steadily darker. It was almost nearing 11 p.m. at night. And we didn't have I mean, we had phone flashlights if it did get dark. We had no, and then we got lost too, trying to find the way back. We're like, where are we? And then there was mud, and we're like,
like climbing
and
also uphill.
we were really
Yeah, in
tired
the
too at that
forest.
point. It was a whole day of walking as well. I think both of us were exhausted. By the time we made it out, we were fully like in the city of Bath with like mud on our legs and our shoes, dehydrated as all heck, and just looking like we came back from a marathon, and we had to like go into a convenience store and try to get water, looking
God.
like we were in the woods. In a place where people don't go to the woods. It's a Bath. You go to like look at old buildings and do rich white people activities. We went into the woods. That's not what you do when you go to Bath.
I took you to a graveyard, and then did you tell them about the garlic and the grave that you touched?
Oh, and apparently it's my fault that we got sent to the Shadow Realm. Because
God cursed us a little. You tell them. Tell them.
Apparently it was wild garlic that just grows in the ground, and I wanted to try to dig up a garlic clove, so I started digging in a graveyard with my hands.
Trying to fingies.
With my fingies trying to pull up a garlic clove, and we were joking like, haha, you're gonna get us cursed. Flash forward like 4 hours later, walking out of the woods like we just witnessed a murder and like buried a body.
And there was this really old grave that was like colorful, and like it was like a spiraling.
There was
like,
a
I don't know how to
spiraling
describe it.
pillar as like a grave
Pillar.
headstone that was unmarked with
Yeah.
really intricate like tiles, and I just wanted to touch it, so I did.
You did. You didn't even like poke it. Like you fully ran your hand along it.
I
And
was
had the
touching it
thought-
for
I was
like a good minute too. I was trying.
And I was staring at you. I was like, cool. Cool.
Cool. We're definitely cursed now. Cool.
Yep, definitely cursed now.
Yeah, and then we got lost in the woods, and we came back out of the woods at 11 p.m. And then we came back out of the woods in this residential area, and there was no one
Yeah.
around. And I was like, what
nobody.
if we're still in the Shadow Realm? What if it's like spirited away, and we just like got teleported? What's happening? And we're so far out of like the city center. I don't know. And then I got concussed, so
Yeah.
I think maybe
Cursed.
I did get cursed. I think.
Maybe a little.
Maybe a little.
That was my theory. Or you're just really unlucky.
What was in
Either
the
way.
UK air that made Olive so unhinged? The
great
the
question.
pollen, maybe, because of the abundance
Possibly.
of biodiversity,
Yeah.
which I was
You bet.
obsessed with.
You were just like the first few days in Cardiff. We would just be we're naturey people. We don't really care about tourist stuff. So I was like, cool, I'll take you to the nature places. And you were just picking flowers, being like, oh, what kind of tree is this? What kind of tree is that?
Because
It was
I
very
cannot
sweet.
stress enough in like the Florida suburbs in which I live, the grass, like the weed killer and pesticides, there's nothing growing in the lawn. It's just spiky grass that will make you itchy if you sit in it. We don't got that. We don't got flowers to pick. So that was really cool. I was just having a good time. I was like, wow, imagine not living in the suburbs of Florida.
Oh,
Also, you can,
the way you
like,
described it.
You can like sit and lay in the grass, which was new to
Yeah.
me, because in Florida. We got fire ants. We got all sorts of bugs. If you go in the woods in Florida, you are getting eaten alive by bugs. You are not coming out of there without at least one bug bite. I went walking in Cardiff. We went into like the nature areas. I was just like walking in knee tall grass. It was fantastic. Like no fear of bugs. Actually enjoying nature. However, I might have enjoyed nature too much because I did get stung by a stinging nettle, which was fun. And in the way that like I was like, wow, that's what it feels like. We don't have that here. I've never been stung by a stinging nettle, and you made it sound like such a common experience. I was like, I wonder what that feels like. And then I felt a stinger on my leg, and I was like, oh, I did it.
I guarantee like 2 out of 3 British children have a vivid memory of falling into a pile of them as a child. I did it. Most people have. It's traumatizing.
It feels like
it feels weird.
I guess in America we have poison ivy, which I've never touched because it will leave like a rash. It's really bad. Stinging nettle, I mean, it kind of stings for a couple minutes and then it just slowly fades away. And honestly, it's just weird more than ow, right?
It's a weird tingle.
It's weird. It's a tingle.
Yeah. It's a strange tingle. It's like a blood thing.
I'm not gonna lie, maybe it did hurt a little bit, but but then
You
it
were
was
so brave. You were so brave.
I was like, owie.
Howie.
I think I got bit by something. I put up my leg. I'm like, huh.
I was like, oh, that's a sting. That's a nettle sting.
A nettle?
Also, just like, remember when you found those apples? Just like fruit trees and everything. It was great. That was in Bath. Yeah, but you had a good time overall. You know?
I did. It was really fun. I liked it a lot. It was really pretty. I took a lot of good pictures.
Yeah.
The concussion though.
That was bad. It got better by the time you got to France.
It did. It really did. The fatigue though was the weird bit because I felt I think the problem was I felt better in the sense that I wasn't afraid of going out and doing things, but because I was out, I noticed a lot more when weird symptoms would hit, like not being able to move. So it's not that I didn't have those symptoms before, but I think it just became a lot more noticeable because we were actually going out and doing things while concussed.
Exactly. That week in London, you were just in the house, but in Paris, and you were like on the clock on medication, so maybe that helped. Like just like constantly being
I was
on
around the
for,
clock, like ibuprofen and
which is what you needed from the beginning. But we did not, because we didn't think that you should have the ibuprofen because of the like.
And I shouldn't have had it, and I think the reason why it was so bad that first day is because first thing I did when I woke up in the morning and we went to eat breakfast, I felt a little headache, so I'm like, oh, let me pop my Advil, like every girly does. And it steadily got worse from there, and that's probably because my brain was bleeding. Because of because
Not
of
even
the
probably.
blood,
I'm
like the
pretty
blood
sure it
thinner.
was.
No, it
Yeah,
was.
It definitely was
It
bleeding.
was.
Yeah. So this is why I cannot emphasize when Olive says they had a concussion, they were like, it wasn't just like a bonk and they were out for 3 days. They've been out for a month. And it was bad.
Being back home, I've been trying to get used to being like at the computer, but like I play D&D with Elliot and a bunch of the mods here. Sitting through the session is really hard. Even if I like close my eyes and I'm not looking at anything and it's just audio podcast mode. I know like that we tried that first time and I straight up was like I'm gonna leave and go lay down. Ping me at Discord if you need me to do something. I just can't. So that's why I haven't been streaming since coming back. Is concussion. Yep.
Bless you and your little cracked eggy brain.
At least I can talk now.
Yeah, this is the most coherent you've been in a while. It's good.
You know, I felt really good yesterday, and so yesterday I was like, okay, I should probably stream tomorrow to test like not endurance, but test like what my limit is before Pirates the next day, which I'm really excited for. What's your D&D character like?
Oh boy.
Why don't we ask the dungeon master? Elliot, how would you describe Hollis?
Ooh, Hollis.
He's a death cleric.
Okay, imagine taking a sickly Victorian child, making him like devout to a god, and then aging up by like 10 years. That's Olive's D&D character. So, and also imagine that they're like super like righteous and like lectures everyone about everything and it's like, guys, we have a job to do. If you guys have seen the Umbrella Academy, just imagine Five from the Umbrella Academy.
He's Five from the Umbrella Academy, except
from the Umbrella Academy.
He's a sickly 19-year-old sassy
Yes.
cleric who flirts with everyone, apparently.
So
He should have been a bard.
He has like 2 husbands. It's wild. So yeah.
I mean,
Hollis is an interesting person.
he's really fun to play.
Least.
It's really fun. I was a bit worried getting back into streaming that I might curse on stream, because I curse while playing D&D, and I feel like that's one of the only few instances that I feel like I do. I just get really into character. But
You really do. You're very good at RP.
Thank you. Thank you. It's just really fun playing a cleric who's not traditionally nice and nurturing, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Because cleric's like, oh, you're the cleric, you're gonna heal everyone, you're a doctor, you believe in like a good god.
No, Hollis believes in what is it called? Preventative medicine, aka killing the enemy before they have the chance
Preventative
to hurt you.
medicine, baby. You don't gotta heal them if there's no one hurting you.
Exactly. Easy.
But yeah, D&D is something that we do. So yeah, that's been my life. It's like doing D&D every now and then when I can. And Dragon Age. Yep. Non-traditional clerics are a full vibe. They really are. It's really, really fun. Any other stories to tell? I know I'm really bad at...
Gosh. If anyone has any questions, I can pick him out as well.
You love Hollis now? Good. He's my son.
Hollis is... Oh, I love Hollis so much. There's so much that Olive also doesn't know about this character. That's just so funny to me.
Hey, what do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean? I don't know. What do I mean?
You can't...
What?
You can't say that. You can't get me trying to think about plots when I'm streaming. You can't.
No, you know that. Yeah.
You don't understand. I have like a 200-slide PowerPoint presentation with all my theories and all my little strings I'm trying to connect. This is my journal for this campaign, and it's like full, like halfway full of just notes that I then put into my Google Slide presentation.
Oh boy. Remember when you had your concussion? It was like the second day, and we were like doing a bit of like, we played like this card game, but we played it as our D&D characters, and I asked you like a really complicated like backstory question as that character, and you fully had like a migraine attack afterwards because it stressed you out so much in character. I felt terrible.
We were playing a card game called
We're Not Really Strangers.
We're Not Really Strangers. I don't know how popular that game is, but it's just a card game with like cool levels of questions that you're supposed to play with someone that you first meet, and to make you start thinking and like talking to each other, icebreakers, conversation starters. And we tried to play that, and like I just couldn't think. I'm telling you, every time I tried to think of a complex thought, it felt like God was stabbing me with a knife in my head. So I couldn't think deep thoughts. I had to be bright. It was self-preservation. I had to be dumb for like a whole month.
Absolutely.
And I couldn't talk. I pointed at like a leaf and said, a shrimp. It's not a shrimp. And I knew it wasn't a shrimp. I don't know why I said shrimp.
You would just think your brain was elsewhere. When I took you for that walk in the Thames, and we sat down by like these flowers, and you just spent like 20 minutes just staring at these flowers, and I was like, it's okay, you're getting enrichment outside of your enclosure. I'll just leave this. I'm not gonna poke it. That was
pretty bad.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3, I just saw Slick mention.
Yes.
I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 since it got released as early access like 2 years ago, like during the pandemic or something. I bought that as soon as early access was out, and I've been waiting. I am a Baldur's Gate fan. I don't think I'd play it on stream just because I feel like it would be boring to watch. I'm trying to think. The thoughts are leaving me. The words are leaving.
Hello.
It's like I use too much strategy when I play that game, so most of me is just like sitting there staring at the screen trying to think of what to do next.
Yeah.
It's like turn-based combat, D&D combat, and I mean, I love the game. I'll talk about it. I don't know if I would stream it. Also, it's not family friendly.
Oh yeah, no, it is like a mature
Yeah,
17.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not family friendly at all.
Yeah, someone said maybe my brain was trying to explain it was a curly leaf. Here's the thing, I can't say if you're right or wrong because I'm using leaf as a placeholder, because truth is, I don't remember what the object I was pointing to was.
I'm like 80% sure it was like a piece of fruit.
I feel like we were eating something, and there was something on my fork, like a strawberry, something that's not anywhere close to shrimp, and I said, look, a shrimp. And immediately it was like, I'm so, what?
I remember that. And imminent domain, you know?
Oh, yeah, I was being nerdy. I was talking about Central Park because we were talking about public parks, and I was trying to think of the word eminent domain for like 10 minutes. It wasn't working. It wasn't happening. Also, Secret Genesis, Jokey Tundra, Pink Little Witch, thank you for resubscribing. I know I haven't been paying attention to messages as much, but thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. We had more stories. I know we did. There was so much that happened. Oh, here's one completely not related to concussions, but in Cardiff, the one thing that the one story that always sticks out to me of like, did anything funny happen, was walking in the streets of Cardiff midday and seeing something in the streets ahead.
Oh my god.
It's the American instincts. If you see anyone like huddled or just anything happening, you zone in on it. And you think, where's the gun? Okay? So I just saw like,
oh boy,
like in this busy street, a big like clear circle around and something, and as we go closer, I'm looking at what this something is, and it's on the ground, and it's a swarm of bees on the pavement. Just a swarm of them. For some reason, they're swarming all on a pavement. It's like a whole hive of bees. And like obviously there's people giving it like a wide berth, and like so it's just like people are walking around it. There's some people trying to make sure it's closed off. And then there's one guy who's clearly like plastered, like drunk. It's midday. It has to be noon.
Yeah.
Drunk.
It was noon.
Is standing right next to the swarm of bees with like a beer bottle. And just like starts tipping it over and pouring the beer on the bees. And we're walking closer, Elliot does not notice any of this.
I don't. I'm out of it. I was thinking about something else.
Like, pardon the pun, but we're like beelining it. We're walking like this is what's in front of us. And like as he's pouring the beer on the bees, I see the bees start to fly in that erratic, like pissed off bee behavior. They start to fly in a different way when they're mad. So I see them starting to do that. Immediately I grab your arm. I'm like, nope. No.
What's up? Okay, we're going. Great. Okay,
and I'm
cool.
like dragging you away before you've even seen what the thing is. And like there was like also like a bunch of like super tall buff men who were like, dude, stop it. What are you doing?
I feel like I don't even need to describe like that kind. Like the British people will understand that is just typical British behavior. No danger sense, just like mate,
no danger sense, and no one else was doing what I was doing. No one else was like, no one else was seeing the danger and turning away. I was the only one who was like, nope, and we completely booked it to like a different street. And no one else, no one seemed fussed. No, I was like, those bees they're gonna start stinging. But I mean, I'm from Florida, and
thankfully you were there. Thankfully, because I would have
And every-
completely missed that.
Also, whenever we're in public, anytime there was a loud noise, I would go,
Yeah. Yeah, it happened so much. It was actually kind of scary to see it in person because it was over anything. You had like a reaction.
it's like this country
danger.
has collective
Yes.
PTSD. Anytime there was something
Genuinely.
loud, my reaction was,
Yeah.
what happened? Let's leave.
Yes. And I'm like, literally, someone, I don't know,
And-
just like a door slam shut or something.
I don't know. It might just be me. I don't know. I just know at least Megs, who you might recognize in the chat, is a friend of ours. When we're out in public, we usually pick up on loud noises and we kind of freak out a little bit too. We were at a Panera talking about D&D. We're in Panera. It's like there's like a good amount of people in there. It's not busy because it's late, and we're in a booth kind of towards the back, like the farthest away from the kitchen that you can be. And we just hear screaming start. Like this one person like screaming in pain, like the type of screaming that you only hear in movies. Coming from the kitchen, and we immediately stop and we're just staring at each other listening to someone screaming like they're in pain and agony. And the screaming doesn't stop. It's just one prolonged yell. And Megs and I are looking at each other. And we're staring, and both of us have that stance of, we're about to slide out of this booth. And we're looking at each other, and Megs is like, do we go? Do we dip? Do we dip? And I'm like, wait, because I'm waiting for the scream to stop and waiting for a new noise to appear. But it just, whoever it was, just keeps on going to the point where it gets kind of funny. And then the scream, because it just kept on going, like one prolonged yell of like,
chopped his finger off or something.
And then it stopped. He's like, oh my god, and he kept going. And at this point, Megs and I are like, do we go? And then I like pop up like a meerkat over the edge of the booth, and everyone else is just eating. Like, no one's looking towards the kitchen. No one seems surprised or stressed that someone is screaming like they cut off their hand in the back of the kitchen. And at some point, the screaming just stopped, and then nothing. Nothing happened. I saw no bustling happening in the kitchen, because Panera, like, you can sort of see into like the kitchen, and this, like, no bustling was happened. Like, no employees looked frantic. There was nothing was affected.
That's just
They
some
put him
Magnus
into
Archives activity.
Yeah, it was like a Magnus Archives at like the Twilight Zone. Like, something really
Absolutely.
weird happened,
And nobody noticed.
no one reacted.
Yeah.
They put him into a bread bowl. But it was like,
Put him in a glue trap.
oh my god! Ah! I was like, who yells like that unless they've been stabbed in the kidney? Like, who? So after that, like, Megs and I sat there for a while, more like just waiting to get an answer as to what happened. And just nothing happened, so eventually we just left. Anyways, it's a funny story to tell, but the point of that was, I feel like Americans have a danger sense. Apparently, I can't say that and then look at everyone else in that Panera where no one was even looking in the direction of the yelling.
Were you guys like closer to the yelling, or was it?
Yes.
Okay, maybe
wait,
that's
no,
why.
I said yes. Alfie said,
What?
speaking of Magnus
sorry.
Archive, was that your Shadow Realm experience? Like the spiral? I don't know how far into that podcast you got. If anyone doesn't know, I mention the Magnus Archives quite a lot.
So good.
So just brief context, it's a horror podcast. Do I say that word wrong?
Say what wrong?
Every
horror?
time I say horror, it sounds like I'm saying
do have a tendency to like overpronounce words, but I think it's sweet. It's like, you say horror or documentary. Like you just overpronounce things. It's okay.
But the problem is I play scary games all the time, so it's a word that I say a lot. And
Horror.
whenever it comes, like I'm about to say it, I have to actively be like, horror. So I try to say spooky games instead. But it's like a spooky podcast where like every episode is a little scary spooky story, but then it's like, whoa, they're all connected. There's a plot.
It's great.
It's really good.
It's actually really
if you're
great.
any sort of nerd who really likes having something to hyperfixate on, and I mean that in the most literal of senses, this is a really good, like, media fixation to have, because the fandom's incredible. There's so much to it, and
so much.
You can either listen to it casually or you can start like plotting from the beginning. When I started listening to it, this was an era in my life where I was helping my parents install a lot of flooring in houses.
Floor installation was an era.
Floor installation was an era for me. So I would wear headphones and like be doing floor installations. So I got really into it, and I was paying attention really, because most people go in not knowing there's an overarching plot. They think it's just like an anthology, but I started noticing that like the things pretty early on, and it got to the point where I had a space dedicated on my wall where I had post-it notes and like strings attached, like that quintessential like meme of the guy and the conspiracy board. I had that going on in my room while I was listening to this podcast. And then I not to spoil anything at all, but I did find out the categories before it was revealed in the actual story. Not to brag or anything, but
no brag. I mean, that's impressive.
And I was trying to come up with names for them and everything, and some of them are kind of close, not gonna lie. So
I feel like, looking for patterns, Magnus Archives.
I love pattern recognition.
So good.
To the point that when we were in Oxford and the Science Museum gift shop, I found these two really thick books. And the books, it's by one of the directors that runs, and I'm gonna butcher it because I was concussed. They run like the whole like a code breaking program in the UK. So it's like qualified code breakers wrote a book about how to like break codes, and it's all just a bunch of puzzles. It's a puzzle book about how to break codes, and it teaches you kind of, and it gives you activities. I love that stuff. So Elliot bought me 2 of them, not 1, but 2. It was
both
part 1 and part 2, and I had both of them.
And you got concussed the same day.
I got concussed the same day that evening. So I still have these books and I haven't opened them yet, and I feel terrible because I was really looking forward to doing that like on the plane. But I couldn't read. I would try to read, and I was like, no. Oh boy. So anyways, the moral of that entire tangent was I really like puzzles. And there's some context to what the Magnus Archives is, because I feel bad every time I bring it up, because people in chat do recognize it, but not everyone does, obviously, because it's a really niche fandom. I don't know how popular it really is. It seems popular to me, but that's because I follow a bunch of people who like it, you know? It's really good. Did you go to Bletchley Park while you were in England?
We did not. Where is Bletchley Park?
Apparently
I should
not.
know that. Apparently, no. I mean, the thing is, we took you to London, and you went out, I think, once or twice just to, like, one of the bridges. Not the bridge, a bridge. There are many bridges. And you kept saying, is that the London Bridge?
Every time we passed the bridge that crossed over the Thames. Am I saying it right? Is it Thames?
Yeah, Thames, yeah.
Anytime we pass any sort of bridge, I'll be like, is that the London Bridge? I was out of it. It was the only joke I could. I was trying to be silly. It was the only joke I could make that didn't require brain effort. Is pointing to everything. Is that the London? We were in France. Is that the London Bridge?
Oh my god, Olive! Remember oh my god, where was it? I think it was in Oxford or Bath. But there was that guy who had like an entire crowd of people who like loved the music that he was playing. Or was that in France? I can't remember. Do you remember that?
Streamer less than
I lost my mind. I don't know why. I wait.
It bothered you so much.
I was so bothered by this.
I think we were in London. Yeah, we were in London at the time. I think I want to say London. Who knows?
Let's say it was London. So here's the
Yeah.
thing. I love street performers. There's so many like talented, incredible musicians, and there was some that I was like, hey, can we stop here and listen? Because there's this one guy who was playing the guitar, but he was playing it like the guitar was in his lap, and he was playing it like not like he was
It's like a keyboard.
He was playing it,
It was
like
interesting.
he was playing it like a keyboard.
Like plucking it on his lap.
I was like,
yeah.
hey, do you think he knows that he doesn't know how to? Do you think he knows?
I don't think he knows.
Do you think I
don't
should
think-
tell him
think-
he's playing?
Yeah, I don't. Maybe not. Maybe leave it.
Anyways,
it's fine.
really creative people, really wonderful, who I think deserve a lot more recognition and a lot more tips for busking because they're just so good. But then we were in a very touristy part of London, would you say? And there was just this one guy singing pop, like crowd pleaser songs. He wasn't even that good, but they were crowd pleaser songs, and everyone was standing around singing with him and doing the thing with their phones. I'm like, come on, he's not even that good.
They were like clapping and had their torches up and were waving their hands back. It was a lot of energy, and you were so bothered by it.
It was
Because
because
the thing
like
is
the
with
day
British people,
previous, we
it's like-
saw such like talented, really creative people
Yes.
performing their
Mhm.
own songs, and they weren't getting that many tips or crowds. And then this one guy sings like that song on the radio,
Like there was like a few Adele songs or something, but like
and he wasn't good.
no, it was questionable. But British people love recognizable songs. Like we will sing for any reason. You remember just being in London, you could just hear people singing from the outside. Like people just sing for no reason. It's a very British thing, I think. Maybe it's just a European thing. but-
I don't. It was a funny bit. It was more of a bit. I didn't care that much, but I was like,
yeah, I know. It was funny though. It's funny to watch you just get so upset. And I was like,
I went on like a really heated rant for like 10 minutes.
and it just like got progressively, the crowd got more excited. You're like, Jesus Christ. They like pulled out their phones. Oh my god.
It was like unbelievable.
I just remembered something from when you were like peak concussion.
What?
And we were like at a cafe sitting outside. And an ambulance passed, and you fully rolled your eyes and sighed. And I was like, okay. Like you were just so bothered by the sound. Like you looked like annoyed. You were like, it was so funny.
It was such like I didn't even realize I had done it until you pointed it out,
No.
but I don't even remember doing it, but apparently an ambulance had gone by, and you know it's loud, and apparently I went like
Yeah. Fully did. Fully. It was amazing. Just so many like things like unintentionally you were doing. Like yeah, it's the American be like, oh, free healthcare, god damn it. Why?
oh, okay. So, what?
Uh,
Someone needs an ambulance?
can't
I
believe
don't know why I did that.
it was so
I think I was so
funny.
out of it that every reaction that came out from me was just so unfiltered.
It was. You had no filter. Genuinely none. It was great. It was just so funny. And I think just little things like that really made it.
I don't even know if there was anything else, but can we talk about just how I don't want to say we're bad at being adults, but I think both of us
You can say it.
No, I think both of us are
Yeah.
we don't want to be a problem.
No.
We don't want to
yeah.
be an
Neither of
inconvenience.
us.
And I think we're
Yeah.
both pretty self-sufficient.
Yes, I'd say so.
Now, I say this because
Why? Why do you say this?
now I hit my head in an Airbnb where we were living in the
gosh.
upstairs room of this guy who like this guy he lived there, and we were just staying there with him, which wasn't really that awkward. I liked it, actually. It was nice knowing there was someone
He
else
was
in
really
the house,
nice.
and he was really polite. And
Oh
now,
boy.
I listen, I like being a bit of an investigator. I knew from the moment we walked in, like, that he was a basketball guy. I knew he was a basketball coach. Now, it wasn't till we left that Airbnb a week later and we were in London that I looked at Elliot and I was like, I think he would know a lot about concussions.
And I said, why do you say that?
He was a basketball coach for the Oxford basketball team. We probably could have asked him for help because he asked us, like, "Are you okay? Is everything okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's fine. This is a great. We're having such a good time. I'm just tired."
And guess what? It was like the last night, and we were just like talking to him because we also had accidentally blanked him, and like Olive and I went out to town. Oh my god, remember that girl? Sorry.
No, it's good. We're bringing up a lot of really funny interactions that we had with like British people.
Please. So it was the last night we had accidentally just blanked him in town, and Olive and I were just talking to him in the kitchen. And
now, is that a British term? Because I've never used the term blanked to him.
Blanked. So blanked is when you accidentally ignore someone.
Yeah, like we had fully crossed paths, and I have facial blindness. I genuinely like you just didn't notice. I saw him, and I thought, oh wow, he reminds me of our Airbnb host, and fully like perceived him.
Did you make eye contact?
Maybe.
Oh my god, Olive.
I was concussed. I had my sunglasses on at night.
Yeah.
Anyways, basically, he was a basketball coach. And we didn't make the connection until we were like at the train station leaving to London, thinking we probably should have just asked him for advice. He plays basketball. They get concussions all the time.
Oh, the worst part was when he said to us on our final night, "Hey, I hope you guys had a good time because you're actually like my first guests." And then I went, "Oh no."
We kept the concussion a secret the whole time. I didn't want to have him worry. As an Airbnb host, I didn't want him to feel any sort of obligation that he has like 2 young girls upstairs where one of them might die because they have a concussion. I didn't want him to have that weight on his shoulders. Imagine you're an Airbnb host, you host, and you have like these 2 really, really polite, soft-spoken guests,
just like shy guys.
who clearly seem shy and clearly are very new to adulting, and one of them has a concussion. Like I didn't want to create a problem, so I didn't say anything.
I did consider that, Deirdre, that they actually that he had noticed and was seeing if we'd bring it. Like he might have overheard us talking about it or something, or like the fact that I was taking ice packs from his freezer. Maybe he noticed. I don't know, but it's probably fine.
That's true.
Say anything.
That's true. I never asked you where you got the ice packs from. You're fully like, no.
Where do you think I got them from?
I didn't. I just. My brain wasn't. I never thought to ask.
Oh boy.
I was just like, oh, an ice pack.
Yeah, I felt so. He was such a nice person that I don't think either of us wanted to stress him out.
Because I just thought from his perspective again, like I feel he would feel obligated to be like check in on us and make sure we're alive and and actually thinking back on it, if he's a basketball coach, he might insist that we go to a doctor.
Yeah. Which would be such a terrible thing.
Yeah, what a terrible thing, going to the doctor.
Yeah, what a terrible thing. We did eventually. And the doctor said it was fine, so we were like, okay, we don't need to worry him. It's fine. Yeah, no, I definitely, in hindsight, we probably should have. But I don't think we are neither of us are the kind of people to do that. So.
That story that you mentioned, we tried, because I had like sunlight sensitivity, and the sun, it really was a big trigger for migraines. We tried going out at night. We were just walking. I'm like kind of out of it, and this really clearly drunk British girl, she
totally drunk?
Did she come and like tap me on the shoulder? Was she behind me?
Fully, like
Did
Yeah,
she
no, was
walk in
behind
front
us.
of me, or
Yeah,
was
she walked behind us and like tapped us on the. Like I don't think she even tapped us. I think she just spoke into the back of our heads. And we both
And
stopped
it was
and
definitely,
turned.
she wasn't making a direct eye contact with me in particular. I
Yeah,
turned around, I looked
mhm.
at her, and I clearly clock her as, you are white girl wasted. Yo,
She
the whole-
was
she's like
so
very
wasted.
clearly clubbing, and she was like looking up at me, and in the most heavy British accent, I don't know what she said until later. She just said something to me and looked at me, and I was out of it. I was concussed. So I just looked at her. I think judgmentally, almost.
Yeah, I did.
Not because I was
like,
judging her for approaching me, but because I
Just
was
confusion.
trying to translate what she said. So it
language
ended up
barrier.
me looking down at this really enthusiastic drunk girl, like almost like rudely. And I didn't mean to. And she just looked at me, and I saw it falter. I was just like, and then she went back to her friends, and they were like cackling. So I think what she had said to me in particular was like, man, that literature exam, huh?
Yeah.
Or
She was
something like that. Like she thought I was
like,
an
"Oh,
Oxford student with her.
Yeah, that English lit was so rough, wasn't it?
But,
Something like
but
that.
no,
That
say
was like,
say it though in a really heavy British accent.
oh, that English lit was so rough, was it? That's basically how it sounded, and I kind of like half understood it, and I was like,
And so
I've
she
I've
said this
spoken
to me,
this-
and like really
yeah.
quickly too, and like really loudly, and unexpectedly, I turn around and there's like this really drunk British girl who just says this, and I just looked at her like,
Like, I think she fully believed that we were students because we looked like students, like walking around Oxford with my
and
like,
I
book
actually feel
bag.
quite bad about it because again, I like
Yeah.
talking to people. I would have struck up a
Yeah.
conversation with her. I was concussed. I had no idea what she said.
Yeah.
So I feel like I just glared judgingly at her, and she like tuck-tailed and ran back to her friends to laugh about it. But I
It
didn't
was
mean to. I was just.
so
It was in the
funny.
middle of the night too. It was dark.
It was like 11 p.m. at
A
night.
police car pulled over a car right next to us, and I was like, "Whoa, let's watch."
That's another thing. You loved watching people get arrested in the UK. Like you were so fascinated because you just be like watching someone like actually properly be detained of like 10-15 minutes, and you just shake your head like, nah, she'd be tased by now. I'm like, sorry, what? Sorry,
No,
what?
like fully
is
like
this not-
like sitting.
so funny.
It's like true crime, which
Yes.
it's like we were sitting in a cafe, and oh, my head hurts, but it's fine. We're like. I laughed too hard. We're like next to like the big windows in a cafe, and like this lady was clearly like being pat down, a bit like
Yeah.
investigated, and like fully detained and put in the back of a truck. It was like a 15-20 minute process to get this lady to cooperate, and the two policewomen were like so polite and nice with her,
Yeah.
and just like taking their time and like making sure she was getting in calmly, even though she was being very difficult.
There's-
And then I was watching and I was looking at Elliot like, she would be tased by now.
And I was just like, why? Because she was at one point like resisting arrest a little, and there was even one point where she like
She
they were
wasn't
getting her
getting
into the
they were
car.
trying to fit her into
Yeah.
like the back of the truck, and she was like,
She actually, yeah, at one point she actually hit her head, but they didn't just shove her in, and they took her out and made sure she was okay.
like
And
making
then
sure she wasn't
put her back in, concussed. Yeah. Yeah.
But it was just really fun watching. Listen, I
Yeah.
live in suburban Florida. Like I don't come from a city. I don't get free entertainment like that, okay? And even if that did happen in America, it wouldn't be entertaining, it would be scary. So this was
yeah.
fun. It was a fun arrest because nothing bad happened.
Sure, it's fun for her.
Nothing bad happened, and in fact, the police were
Yeah.
so polite. It was
They
just
were.
a bit entertaining because they were
'Cause
so.
we were, like-
it was going back and forth and back and forth.
For reference, we were inside a coffee shop and they had like this massive glass window, and she was like being pressed up against the window, so we could just see everything.
okay,
Like,
wait,
it was
wait.
just fully
I need to clarify. She wasn't being pressed up against the window.
oppressed.
She
but
was
she was like
next to
in
the
front of
window, whilst
Yes.
her bag was being searched. There was no.
Yes.
You see, you say that,
Oh,
and I'm
yeah,
thinking
no.
very much a different,
that's
a
my-
more American picture.
Yeah, Olive, that's my version of being pressed up
That
against a
that
window.
was a polite discussion. That was like
Yes.
packing a school lunch bag.
What? I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what?
Don't worry about it.
No, I'm worrying about it.
Don't worry.
What?
Hi Anise. Thanks for the bits.
Thanks
Or
for
the
bits.
resub.
What?
Thank you.
Resub. Thank you.
Yeah. Alfie is agreeing. Being pressed up against a window means like physically pressing someone against a window in America. What Elliot
Oh.
means is that she was standing next to a window while having her back
And
searched.
sort of leaning on it a little. Yeah.
I mean, I
Huh.
wasn't the only one
so much-
watching. Other people were like drinking their coffee and like, wow, this is better than the morning newspaper.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And then I found that this car got pulled over by a police car, and that was just interesting. Because
That was interesting.
we were on the sidewalk right next to it when the
Yeah,
police car
and the
came
police
in
car,
like
like,
that.
cut them
I was
off.
like, oh, nope.
Yeah. Who?
Even though they were nowhere near us. I know we have more good stories. I know we do.
We do. But that's. I feel like London was just so uneventful because of how ill you were.
Which
like,
is
London was
awful
just
because
peak
London is such like
concussion.
an epicenter
Yeah.
of things to do. I really. Oh, I try. Oh, I was there with my mom too. So I hadn't mentioned that before, but my mom flew into London, so I was already in the UK, and we ended up meeting at the Airbnb in London with her, and she wants to do a bunch of art museums. So I tried to go to one because I love art museums. I saw that one Van Gogh painting with the sunflowers, and I'm like, oh, I can't.
I'm done. I'm out.
I can't. Like, I tried
done.
looking at it, an immediate migraine. It's like,
Yeah.
I couldn't focus on anything was the problem. Like, I could exist and I would still be in pain, but the moment I try to hone in on looking at anything, whether it's a sign or a painting, I tried to look at paintings. I love paintings. I found some ones I really liked, and I was, appreciating the details and the technique, and I was like, I turned around like, Elliot, I need to go home. We were there, I saw 5 paintings total. We were there
Yeah.
a really short amount of time.
Yeah.
I felt really
It
bad.
was-
Because I really
Aw.
wanted to see.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, Van Gogh was in there, and Monet's. It was like
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
museum. like
the
the Monet with like
Mhm.
the bridge and all the lily pads. I like
yeah,
that
the National
one.
Gallery is like proper. You
Proper.
Sorry. Hey. Hey.
Hey.
Listen, okay. Hey. I lost my brain of train thought.
You got
You
this.
continue. I a concussion.
Oh, you know what I
It's-
love though? Eventually,
Oh.
on a day where I was feeling better, when we were in France. France was really the sun coming up from beneath the
Yes.
clouds for me.
Yeah.
We went to
It really was.
we went to
Oh,
a
man.
modern art museum. Let me tell you, man, this was some modern art. They were
That was
displaying
interesting.
squares and lines
Yeah.
and like calling it art. I'm like, that's just a line.
Yeah, if you
Excuse
thought,
me?
that street performer that was just doing
That
pop songs was
entire
bad,
and then I
that
don't
was-
you didn't enjoy that
Mhm.
because
didn't
I
know.
was complaining.
eh.
I was complaining the whole time.
I enjoy contemporary, I don't enjoy cubes.
I
wanted
wasn't
to,
complaining, but I was making fun of every art piece except there was one exhibition.
Exhibition? Sorry, say that again.
Exhibit?
Exhibition.
And it was one exhibition. There's an
What?
H in there, right? Exhibition.
Yeah, there is. Like an exhibit.
There was one
Yeah.
exhibition that I enjoyed, but the rest was a garbo. Holy shoot. It wasn't even
Garbo.
good art. Like, there was one lady who apparently tried watercolors, even though it wasn't her thing, clearly.
That was bad. That was really, I'm not gonna lie, that was bad.
And it wasn't even like,
yeah.
ooh, wow, she's so out there painting like an eye. It wasn't even good watercolor technique. I never even went to art school, and I know that, okay?
I went to art school and I knew that.
It was just
I could tell it was not
bad.
good.
and
was-
aesthetically unappeasing. Guys,
It-
it's
it was
happening.
like- It's. I
The
think you're
clouds are
having-
rolling in.
This Shadow Realm is vastly approaching. Interesting. Are you okay?
Unappealing. No, I'm having a
Unappealing.
fun time. This is really funny.
Good. Okay, good. Glad. Be safe. And the fact that this was in Paris's Gallery of Modern Art, was this like really
It's
like this
sad.
was in there with like, oh my god, what's his name? The one who does all the naked people and cubism.
They wouldn't look. This chat wouldn't know it. That's all. That's
No.
just strictly you art major knowledge.
It's no, its
Um,
name starts with an Matisse. I'm pretty sure it's Matisse.
That was it.
Let me
I
check.
recognize it because I was like, I don't like this fellow.
Yeah,
He's
it was
bad.
Matisse. And it was like this person's like even though Matisse is like
Here's
Like-
the thing. These people are probably good
Yeah.
artists, but then they just stop.
then
They stop being good. They start making squares. In my defense, the Matisse that I saw was like
it wasn't that good.
the bad ones. Okay,
Yeah,
maybe there's good
some of them are
Matisses
actually
out.
fun.
Yeah, maybe there's fun ones, but the ones I saw,
Yeah,
like,
it was
clearly.
very much his.
And then I read the
earlier
description and was
cubism
like
stuff.
commissioned by this really rich white guy. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's-
that was the issue with most of it. It's that these people are there just because
they
have
live
money,
off of.
and that's
It's a really
galleries.
what did I call it? Like a self. It's like their own enclosed ecosystem of like really rich
Yes.
people.
That is gallery culture.
It's
That is,
gallery
like,
culture, like
yeah.
just people
Mhm.
with money making their
It's like
own
sponsors and,
ecosystem.
like,
they have to
yeah.
sponsor each other because no one else
Yeah.
would care.
Exactly. Yeah, literally. Yeah, it's
It's
a
an echo
thing.
chamber. Thank you,
Yeah,
Willow. It's an
echo
echo
chamber.
chamber. That's
Oh,
what
I see.
modern art is. It's an echo chamber. I'm here with some
Yeah.
hot takes today. It's an echo chamber. Go to a modern art gallery. Holy shoot. That lady wasn't even good, and they were like displaying
No.
everything she tried. She apparently she got into photography at some point in her life, and it was like a picture of a lamp. It
It was
wasn't
really
even good
not good.
composition. I'm like, you could take a good picture of a lamp, but that
She had like an entire exhibit to herself. Like an entire corner of this gallery was just for her. And it's like some of the things were decent. But
Yeah,
it's because it was
so apparently
oversaturated with bad
she's a
stuff.
good sculpturist.
Yes.
Because her sculptures, I was like, oh, yeah, that's actually really cool. But the problem is they displayed every other art form she tried. Keyword
Yeah.
tried. I almost felt bad for her. I'm like, you should have just stuck with the sculptures. Instead, you just like kind of opened up her whole closet and just like imagine someone opening up your sketchbook of all your like really bad sketches and like put that
Yeah.
up before they showed off what you were really good at.
Yeah. Oh my god, also remember when we went the day before we saw those fancy people? That was terrifying.
We were in like Paris. We were in Paris. They were having this big fashion thing. Like, because we tried to go to the museum earlier, but there was this big fashion exhibit going on with like a bunch of models taking pictures in their outfits. They looked so fancy. And there
It
was
was, like-
people rolling up in those fancy black cars with the drivers.
Mhm.
There was something happening. And
It
then we were over
was.
here in our like jeans and t-shirts like, yo,
Hey, can we come look at some modern art, please?
can we join
No.
you?
Yeah, please let us in.
Can we
I
stand
think
next to you and not feel inferior, please?
I feel like we absolutely could have gone in to see
They were
the gallery,
so
but
good.
we were too
Like,
intimidated.
they were too
to,
good
like-
looking.
Yeah. It was like we can't hang out here now. It's this,
Like,
we can't. Do
there's a
that.
clear
No.
difference between like normal people and then them.
Yes.
Like
Yeah,
they're
they were,
too
like,
good looking and their
black
outfits were
tie.
fantastic.
Yes.
It's one of those
Like French
outfits where you're like,
fashions.
who are you
Yes.
wearing today?
Like
Like-
designer, French fashion, Paris, terrifying.
I was like, and
Um,
the museum was still open, but I'm like, there's no way I'm going in there.
Yeah, me neither. And you were also pretty concussed.
I was
by that
also
time.
concussed.
Yeah, you were
I was
pretty
self-conscious. I was like, let me rebraid my hair. Let me oh.
Yeah.
Oh. What are we talking
Oh.
about? That's a fantastic question.
That's a great
This
question.
is a just chatting stream. To tell funny stories from the 3 months I've been gone.
Yeah.
Period.
That's it. That's pretty much it. Including concussion, Wales, England, and
Museums.
France. Museums.
TwitchCon.
I was gonna ask you can you criticize the London Natural History Gallery?
Don't even
Museum.
get me start. What?
I was waiting for it.
It's the Natural History Museum in London, and it was bad. How do you make
The
a
function
bad
was amazing.
natural history?
Oh.
All you gotta do
Yeah.
is display bones. It was like bad. Listen, I don't know if anyone here is a fan of the Natural History Museum in London. It's bad. It was a bad time. It wasn't even neutral about it. I was like, hey, can we leave? I love science museums. I wanted to hit up like every science museum that we've been to. Like in Oxford, we hit up those really good, very academic science museums. And then we tried London. And then again in Paris, we just spent a majority of the time in Paris visiting museums and such. Science museums and natural history museums. The one in London? Yeah, how do you mess up the natural? So I think what the problem is that the one in London, like for starters, most of their animals that they were displaying were just like really cheap plastic life scale animals, but it wasn't even taxidermy. It was just clearly very plastic and like chipped and old. And then even their dinosaur section, there was like maybe like 20 bones, okay? Or 20 no, 20 like
Sorry. Just 20.
no,
You
no.
counted.
Like